A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
Kroger Tender Ray Beef, no other beef so fresh can be so tender, presents Hearts in Harmony, transcribed. Kroger Tender Ray Beef. It's delicious. There's no doubt about it, friends. Kroger Tender Ray Beef is delicious. Why, it just has to be. For Kroger Tender Ray is the one beef that's always fresh, always tender. No other beef so fresh can be so tender. Now, you know it's tender because by the Kroger Tender Ray method, the top U.S. government grades of beef are made naturally tender without aging. You know it's always fresh because by the Kroger Tender Ray method, there's no need for wasteful aging, no time for loss of savory juice. Yes, no other beef so fresh can be so tender as Kroger Tender Ray beef. Yet it costs no more than ordinary beef. What's more, Kroger guarantees it's the best-eating beef you've ever served or your money back. So visit your neighborhood Kroger store and get the finest beef value in town. Buy the one beef that's always fresh, always tender. Buy Kroger Tender Ray beef. It's delicious. And now, Hearts in Harmony. If Johnny Keith has his way, he's going to marry Penny Gibbs. Just the other day, he said to Penny's mother, Grace...
Oh, Penny doesn't know it yet, and I don't want her to know it yet. Oh. But, Mrs. Billings, one of these days, very soon now, Penny is going to present me to you as your son-in-law.
If Dr. Joel Evans has his way, it is he and not Johnny who is going to put the ring on Penny's finger. As he said to Nora Lang a few evenings ago,
Nora, you're good at keeping secrets, so I'll let you in on one. I don't want Penny to know it yet, but I'm going to marry that girl, and nothing's going to keep me from it.
Beyond the sparsely settled streets of Rossville are the flat farming lands of the valley. Beyond the flatlands are the rolling hills, and beyond these, the mountains. On a flat rock ledge near the crest of Mount Wills sit Penny Gibbs and Johnny Keith this warm April day. There's been little said the last few minutes, and then Penny breaks the silence with...
What are you thinking about, Johnny?
Oh, just that Rossville looks awfully tiny down there in the valley. Very tiny and very far away.
It looks tiny because it is far away. Looks like a toy village from here, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Kind little children building a living room rug on rainy days.
Sure. And from here it looks peaceful, too. Peaceful and perfect. You can't see the refuse in the streets and mess of vacant lots and the backyards down by the river.
From a distance, it's hard to see anything that's ugly, Johnny. Rossville is a pretty town, though, even from close up, even on the inside.
Yes, it is. Like most growing towns, it has its rough spots, though.
No, it's growing fast. It was such a little town when we were children. It was all trees and parks, shady lanes.
Oh, Penny, you think so because you played in those parks and climbed those trees and roller skated down those shady lanes. But, Penny, the town itself, the riverfront, the mills, the offices, they don't mean anything to you.
I suppose not. You know, in a way, Rossville is still a small town to me.
Well, it isn't large, Penny. It's still a town, not a city. And, well, it always will be a town, I hope.
So do I.
Well, sure, the people in it will keep it a town, Penny. You know, I don't think size has as much to do with whether a place is a town or a city as the people in it. Now, the people of Rossville like Rossville the way it is. They won't allow changes.
That sounds as though they object to progress, Johnny. And that's not so good.
Well, is confusion progress, Penny? Is it progress to fill the air you breathe with smoke and soot? Would you think Rossville was going in the right direction if you someday found your home with an apartment building on one side of it and an office building on the other?
Golly, no.
Well, that's what happens when a town grows into a city and the city becomes a metropolis. But is it progress? I don't think so.
I know the kind of progress I want for Rossville.
Hmm?
I want it to be a happy place. A place that's fun to live in. Quiet fun like this. I want it to be a place where people are... Johnny? You know why Rossville looks so perfectly at peace from here?
Why?
Because we can't see the people.
Or any sign that there's a person in it. Penny, that valley down there, for instance, never knew trouble until man walked into it. And since then, it's had one trouble after another.
Some of them yours, and some of them mine.
Yeah. Well, some have been yours, some have been mine, and some have been ours. But that doesn't mean they have to be now and always. Penny, look, people can drift apart and come back together again. And not just once, but several times.
Johnny, I hope we'll never drift apart. I mean by that, live such different lives that we don't see each other, have nothing in common.
I know what you're getting around to, Penny. That old let's just be good friends routine. Well, don't you think we're both a little too old for that?
I think we're both old enough to recognize and accept it. Being good friends and just that. That's all that's left for us.
If that's all you want us to be.
That's all we can be.
What makes you think so?
Oh, I don't know. Circumstances.
Such as?
Do I have to list them for you? You know them as well as I do.
No, Penny, I don't even see any circumstances.
Maybe you should open your eyes then.
But do they look closed?
Even eyes that are open don't always see everything they should.
Mine do. At least in matters that concern us.
Johnny, look, we shouldn't think of ourselves in terms of us. But in terms of two different people.
Penny, I don't know why you keep on saying that.
Well, I just said it now for the first time, Johnny.
Well, for the first time in that particular way, but... Well, you've said the same thing over and over again in many different ways.
Well, then you should know by now what I mean by it.
Well, first of all, Penny, I'll have to know just what you mean.
Johnny, you know very well what I mean. You've decided not to go back to South Africa, to stay in Rossville for good. You give me a reason, but I don't think it's the right one. I have a strange feeling that you somehow think things can someday... Well, that someday we might mean the same thing to each other that we used to.
Well, we might, Penny.
No, Johnny. No, that's what I'm getting at. That's what I mean when I say we shouldn't think of ourselves as us. Nothing will ever be the same again. Nothing ever is.
Well, if you mean exactly the same, you're right, Penny, but... Well, what about things being the same again, only different? Better, for instance. More what they should have been instead of what they actually were.
No, not the same again, not ever. Not similar or better or as they should have been, or anything of the sort.
Well, you're rather emphatic about it. Why?
Because... Johnny, I don't know. I just don't know.
Well, if you're not sure about your feelings, Penny, you shouldn't be so emphatic about it.
Look, let's not talk about it, huh? All we do is go round in circles.
But such nice circles.
You better be careful. We're up awfully high. You don't want to get dizzy.
That's a long way down, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, for a while I forgot where we were.
So did I.
Hey, it must be 5 o'clock. Isn't that the train coming through the pass from Heatherton?
Yeah, I think it is. Looks like a toy from up here, doesn't it?
We're talking about the toy look of things. This is where we came in.
I guess we better go.
Yeah, I guess so, too, but I hate to.
Yeah, me too.
Well, come on, I'll help you.
Okay. Thank you. It's a shame to leave this spot. The sunset should be beautiful from here.
Well, we'll come up and watch it sometime. Say, isn't that the clock down at town hall?
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock. It's amazing how clearly we can hear it way up here.
Well, wind's blowing in this direction. Whatever wind there is. Well, let's get back to the car. It'll be nearly 7 before we're home.
Johnny. Johnny, speaking of home, now that you're staying in Rossville, are you going to keep a room at the hotel?
Well, I'd like to, Penny, but as soon as my cousin takes over the estate in South Africa, I'm afraid I won't be able to afford a hotel room.
Look, why don't you stay at our house?
Oh, no, thanks.
Well, are you renting a house?
Well, are you kidding? I have to find a job before I can rent a house. And besides, where can I rent a house? There isn't anything in town. I've looked.
And then why don't you stay with us? At least till you find a place of your own.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it, Penny, but I have a line of a couple of rooms. Small, not much to look at, but they'll do for the time being.
I really think you're foolish not to accept a room at our house. And as far as...
No, thanks, just the same, Penny, but I'd rather not. Hey, we'd better get back to the car. There's a wind coming.
Yeah, there is. Ooh, chilly one, too.
Well, it's not too far back to the road. I'll give you my coat if you
No, thanks. It's not that chilly. In fact, it feels kind of good. It picks me up.
Yeah, I think when we get down to the valley, we'll wish we had a breeze. It's a little stuffy down there.
Yeah, it was awfully warm today for this time of the year, anyway. Oh, golly. It's nothing like it's going to be in a few weeks, though.
Well, we'll come up here on those hot days, Penny, and watch the valley swelter.
Aha, you like to see others suffer, do you?
Well, no. This is a free mountain. Only I hope not everyone finds out how cool it is up here.
Cool? It's cold up here.
Yes, it is. Well, here's the car.
Yeah.
We'll be home soon.
What time did you say we'd be home, 7? Well, I hope it's not much later than 7, or Sarah won't let us have anything for it to eat. And she won't let us go into the kitchen to fix anything for ourselves either. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Is it Freddie, Penny?
No, it's no one, Johnny.
Look, I better go out and look for him.
Yeah, maybe you better. I wouldn't worry about Freddie if Nora weren't worried about him, but she's called everywhere. No one's seen either Helen or Freddie.
Well, I know a little place out on the highway where they don't have a phone. I'll try that.
Well, look, if it's not too much trouble, would you? What time is it?
Well, it's almost 11. I'll call you in about an hour, Penny, and let you know if I found
Thanks, Johnny. Thanks so much. I'll go upstairs and try and comfort Nora.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, so long.
Bye, Johnny.
Hello there, Johnny.
Oh, Freddie, is that... Oh, Joe, hello. Not much good about this evening, is there?
Well, what's the trouble, Johnny? You look upset about something.
Yes, I am. Freddie Lang's got the whole house upset again.
Oh?
Yeah, he and Helen Burroughs haven't been seen since 5 o'clock. They left the farm.
Oh. What's the matter with that guy?
Nothing. He just doesn't use his head. Or he may have taken a shortcut back from the farm and had engine trouble or something. I'm glad you're dropping in, Joe. Can you stay for a while?
Well, yes. But why do you ask?
Well, Penny's upset because Nora's upset. Maybe you can cheer them both up until I get some kind of word to him about Freddie.
Well, you want me to help you look?
No, thanks. You'll do Nora and Penny more good sticking here.
Well, anything you say, but, you're sure it's all right with you?
Oh, what do you mean?
I mean, you don't mind if I spend a little time with Penny, even under the circumstances?
Oh, no, why should I? Now that you mention it, Joel, about spending time with Penny,
Yeah?
You'd better get in all the time you can, as fast as you can.
Well, now I'll have to ask you what you mean.
Well, Joel, Penny doesn't know this yet, and I'd rather she wouldn't, but... Well, I've told about everybody else. I might as well tell you. I'm going to marry that girl.
Oh, you are?
Mm-hmm. If she'll have me.
Well, thanks for the tip, Johnny. And to show my appreciation, I'll let you know something. I'm going to marry her.
Oh, you are?
Mm-hmm. If she'll have me.
Well, good luck.
And the same to you.
Well, Dr. Evans now knows that Johnny has vowed to marry Penny Gibbs. And Johnny knows that Joel is just as determined as he. Which one will be successful? Or will she marry neither of them? And what's happened to Freddie Lang and Helen Burroughs? Be sure to listen to the next dramatic episode of Hearts in Harmony. Kroger Tender Ray Beef. It's delicious. Why, naturally, Kroger Tender Ray Beef is delicious. It's the one beef that's always fresh, always tender. Yet Kroger Tender Ray Beef costs no more than ordinary beef. And listen, besides offering you the one beef that's always fresh, always tender, Kroger also offers you more meat for your money. It's like this. Kroger has a special way of cutting beef that removes excess bone, excess waste, and stringy ends. Since this is done before your purchase is weighed and priced, you get more meat, less waste. So to get the most, to get the best, get Kroger Tender Ray Beef. Friends, remember, no other beef so fresh can be so tender as Kroger Tender Ray Beef. And you can buy it only at your Kroger store. Remember, too, at your Kroger store, you get more meat for your money. Because Kroger cut beef gives you more meat, less waste. So visit your neighborhood Kroger store soon and buy Kroger Tender Ray Beef, the finest beef value in town. Be with us again Monday, same time, same station, for another exciting transcribed chapter of Hearts in Harmony.
Dragnet. Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned a juvenile detail. A woman reports that a teenage boy has been stealing food from her home. She says she's seen him several times. Your job? Check it out.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, April 12th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of juvenile detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Powers. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 7:57 a.m. when I got to the second floor of Georgia Street Juvenile. Squad room.
I'll try to tell you I needed 3 hours to make a simple phone call. He was arrested at 1 o'clock this morning.
That's right.
I didn't hear about him until after 4. Now, why weren't we contacted immediately? My wife was half out of her mind.
We're sorry about that. Oh, morning, Joe. Morning. Mr. Neff, this is my partner, Sergeant Friday. How are you? This is Vincent Neff's father, Joe. I see.
Were you in on this thing, too, Friday?
That's right.
Took both of you to arrest a 15-year-old boy, did it?
We made the arrest together. Why?
Well, I'd be ashamed to admit it.
Well, just what seems to be the trouble, Mr. Neff?
My boy's in jail. He's been there all night.
Yes, sir.
I found out about it a couple of hours ago. I want to know why I wasn't called at once.
Well, sir, we called you as soon as we could. Your son wasn't carrying any identification. He refused to answer our questions. We had no way of knowing who to contact.
Well, he was scared, that's all. You can't blame him for that. How'd you get his name if he wouldn't tell you? You beat it out of him?
The other boy we picked up decided to cooperate with us.
I'll just bet he did. He wanted to shift some of the blame. My son's done anything at all, anything he shouldn't. You can be certain that Leonard kid put him up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Vincent doesn't even know what this is all about.
You've talked to him, have you?
Certainly. He says it's a mistake, the whole thing.
Sure.
Oh, I suppose the police don't make mistakes, huh?
We make them.
I'll say you do, and you pulled the beauty this time.
It doesn't look that way to us, but...
Oh, don't tell me how it looks. I know my son. I know when he's telling the truth. He says this is a mistake, and I believe him.
Well, it's natural, I guess.
No, I'm not going to make any wild threats or try to go over your heads, but I want that boy released, and I want him released at once.
Sorry, sir, we can't do that.
I'm being just as patient as I can with you, Sergeant.
Mr. Knapp, we filed a petition on your son. There'll be a pre-detention hearing in juvenile court as soon as possible. The court will decide what happens to him after that. It's out of our hands now.
It wasn't out of your hands last night when you arrested him.
That was our job.
Your job is to protect people's rights. You're supposed to be cops, not bullies.
Take it easy, Mr. Knapp.
There's plenty of crime in this town and plenty of criminals. Robberies, killings, holdups. Only trouble is they never get solved. Guess the police force is too busy manhandling youngsters and chasing bums out of freight yards.
All right, Mr. Knapp.
Too busy or too scared. You're afraid to tackle the real gangsters. You might get hurt. You'd rather pick on a teenage kid who can't fight back. Cowards, that's what you really are. You're cowards, not policemen.
Let me ask you something, Neff. Suppose a couple of guys drive into a filling station. One of them cracks the owner over the head with a tire iron while the other one cleans out the cash register. You think we ought to forget about it or go after him?
I'm not interested in hypothetical cases. I'm talking about my son.
So am I.
What do you mean?
You said you spoke to the boy. Didn't he tell you why he's here?
He said he didn't know. Is that what it is? You think he's mixed up in a filling station robbery? Is that where you're holding him?
Maybe you better ask him again.
I'm asking you.
Yes, that's right. That's it.
Well, you'd better be able to prove it, Sergeant. Believe me, you'd just better be able to prove it.
A woman across the street from the station saw two boys drive away. She got the license number.
Vince doesn't have a car.
It was young Lemmer's jalopy. But your son was still with him when we made the arrest.
Well, that doesn't prove anything. That doesn't prove they were together at the filling station. It was some other boy, not Vince.
That's what your son says, too.
Well, then why don't you believe him?
Lemmert gave us a different story.
Well, what do you expect? He doesn't want to take all the blame. He's in a jam, and he wants some company.
The woman across the street is sure there were two boys, Mr. Neff.
Well, that doesn't make one of them my Vince. Does she say it was Vince? Is she willing to swear to it?
No, sir.
What about the owner of the station? Has he identified my son?
He can't identify anybody. He's still unconscious.
Well, I'm sorry for him, of course, but you haven't got any right to blame Vince. And you haven't got any evidence against him either.
We got the tire iron that was used in the slugging, Neff.
Well, what about it?
We had it checked by Leighton Prince.
Well?
They found a set.
Well, they can't be Vince's fingerprints. They can't be.
I'm afraid they are.
Oh. No, you're wrong. You made a mistake.
Not this time. Look, we're sorry, Mr. Neff.
Why would Vince do a thing like this? There's no reason. He's had everything we could give him. different if we were poor, if he didn't get an allowance every week.
Yeah.
There's just no reason.
No, sir, I guess he found one.
Well, I'm sorry. Sorry if I was a little rough on you.
It's all right.
I better get on home now. His mother will... She'll want to know if he's all right.
Yes, sir.
Oh, there's one thing.
Yes, sir.
If he really did this terrible thing, I'm glad you caught him right away, right after it happened. Now we've got a chance.
Sir?
But it won't happen again.
What do you got there?
Oh. I didn't realize I still had it with me.
What is there?
Well, it's one of those puzzles with numbers. You move around, try to line them up.
Oh.
The kids brought it home last night. I was showing them how to work it. Guess I stuck it in my pocket.
Mm-hmm.
It's real easy, Joe. There, see? I got them all in order. One... That's funny.
Why, what's the matter?
Nothing. I just had a couple out of sequence, that's all.
Well?
Well, give me a minute, can't you, Joe?
You got 3 numbers in the wrong place.
Look,
now.
Joe, I can't work the puzzle when you're watching me like that.
Oh, I see. I get it. Juvenile Friday. Yes, ma'am. I see. Well, do you know the boy? Will you give me your address, please? All right. I have it. What? Yes, ma'am, we would. Will you be home? All right. Thank you very much. Lady up in the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah?
Some youngster's been stealing groceries out of her garage.
She know who it is?
She got a pretty good idea.
Yeah?
She almost caught him. Frank and I left the office and drove out to a hillside address on Edgewood Drive, 2 miles north of Hollywood Boulevard. It was 9:17 a.m. when we got there.
Well, there isn't too much to tell. A week, 10 days ago, I started missing things from the garage here.
What sort of thing?
Canned goods. I keep an extra supply on those shelves over there in the corner.
I see.
But there wasn't much gone, just a couple of items now and then. First, I wasn't even certain. I thought maybe I'd used them up myself and forgot about it.
Mm-hmm.
Then this morning I saw him. It was right after Clarence went to work.
Well, now, about what time would that be?
7 a.m. That's when he leaves. No later than 5 after.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing up the breakfast dishes, and I heard somebody fussing around the garage. By the time I got to the back door, he was sneaking off across the yard. I gave a shout, started after him.
What happened then?
I guess my yelling kind of took him by surprise. Anyway, he turned around and dropped the stuff he was holding. He sure didn't wait to pick it up, though. Started off as fast as his legs would carry him. He headed up the hill there. That was the last I saw of him.
Well, now, just what was it he dropped, Miss Roman?
A couple of cans of my groceries and a big paper bag. That's it, there on the stool there.
Mm-hmm.
I looked inside. Maybe I shouldn't have, but I thought it might be some more of my canned goods.
That's all right.
What do you got, Joe?
Books?
Huh?
Books here.
Huh?
Theoretical Physics, Principles of Dynamics, Frontiers of Molecular Structure.
Didn't make head nor tail of them myself. Must be something he's studying.
Yes, ma'am.
His name in him?
No. No, they're all from the Hollywood Library.
Mm-hmm.
One of you tell us what he looks like, Miss Roman.
Yes, I guess so. First off, I'd say he looks like books.
Does it?
You know, the studying
Oh,
type.
yes, I see.
Sort of thin and pinched.
Mm-hmm.
Blondish hair. Light complected.
About how tall is he?
5 feet 6 or 7. Might look taller than he really is on account of being so thin.
Mm-hmm.
About how old would you say he was?
15, 16, somewhere in there. Just a youngster.
Did you notice his clothes?
Hat on, pants looked pretty worn. And the sweater.
What about the color?
The sweater was blue. Pants were too faded to tell.
Uh-huh.
Now, I want you to understand one thing, Mr. Price.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not real upset about him taking our food. If he needs it, that is. It just seems to me there ought to be a better way of going about it. Nobody has to steal.
Yes, ma'am. Is today the first time you ever saw this boy, Miss Roman?
Oh, no. I've seen him a couple of times before. 1 or 2 mornings he walked past the house on his way down the hill. Other evening I saw him heading back up. Of course, I didn't connect him with my missing groceries then.
Well, we'll have a look around. If he just lives up on the hill, he shouldn't be too hard to find.
Oh, no. No, Mr. Friday. He doesn't live up there. Nobody does.
Ma'am?
Edgewood Drive gives out 100 yards beyond us, just around the next curve.
Oh, I see.
We're the last house.
"9:32 a.m. Frank and I left Mrs. Roman. We drove up to the end of Edgewood Drive, and we got out of the car.
Well, she's right, Joe.
What's that?
No place for anybody to live around here. I think you're way out in the country.
Yeah. Frank?
Huh?
Over there, halfway up on the slope.
What?
See? Right behind that tree.
Oh, yeah.
What's it look like to you?
I don't know. Oh, I guess. What?
Maybe that's where he set up housekeeping.
Huh? What are you talking about, Joe?
Well, didn't you ever try when you were a kid?
Try what?
Hiding out in the cave? We climbed up the side of the hill. About 200 yards east of the road, we came to a small hole. Behind this opening was a shallow natural cave. Frank and I crawled inside. The cave was about 8 feet long and 4 feet wide. The boy we were looking for was not there, but there was plenty of evidence that this was where he'd been living. A sleeping bag was rolled up in one corner. Beside it was a small supply of canned food. We found 10 or 12 notebooks filled with handwritten mathematical equations and some 50 textbooks on advanced physics or higher mathematics.
He sure believes in making use of the public library.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Just about every branch in town.
Well, I suppose there are worse things he could be reading.
Yeah. Looks like they aren't all library books.
What do you got, Joe?
There's a couple here with book plates.
Huh?
Owners' names in them. Book plates in 3 of the texts indicated that they were owned by a person named Carl Winderman. All the other volumes were the property of various Los Angeles libraries. We contacted the office and made arrangements for another team of juvenile officers to stake out on the cave. On our way downtown, we stopped off at the Hollywood Library. We showed the librarian several volumes which belonged to that branch. Her records indicated that the books had not been checked out. She had no idea who had taken them or when. 11:13 a.m. We put out a local with the boy's description, and we checked with missing persons. As far as we could tell, he had not been reported missing. 11:46 a.m. Frank and I made several calls to branch libraries. They all said that the books in question had been removed from their shelves without authorization. We checked the phone directories for the name Carl Winderman. At 12:06 p.m., we reached him at his office at Bradfield University.
Yes, sir, I see. Well, I'd be up to you, sir, any time you say. That'd be fine with us. Yes, sir. Well, thank you very much. That's the right guy, Joe. Head of the physics department.
Mm-hmm. You know anything that might help us?
Yeah, he knows the boy.
Four 4:16 p.m. Frank and I drove out to the Bradfield campus. We met with Dr. Carl Winderman in his office on the second floor of the science building.
Yes, I've talked to the boy several times.
Mm-hmm. Did you know he had these books of yours?
Of course, I loaned them to him.
Oh, I see.
How'd you happen to meet him, Doctor?
It was here at the university.
Yes, sir.
He came to see me. He had read some articles of mine. He wished to discuss them.
What's that?
It was not presumptuous. He has a brilliant mind. Extraordinary.
I see.
And he also wished to inquire about enrolling. He asked about a scholarship.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to discourage him for a year or so at least. He's very young.
Did he say how old he was?
18, that is what he told me. I'm afraid it is not the truth.
About how old would you say he is?
Perhaps 16.
Do you know his name, sir?
Peter.
And his last name?
I suppose he told me, but I'm afraid I do not remember. The typical absent-minded professor.
What about his family? Did he mention it?
No. I imagine they are not well-to-do. The way he was dressed, the inquiry about a scholarship.
Yes, sir.
Did he say where he lives?
In Los Angeles, that's all.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, I think he did mention something about recently coming to California.
Mm-hmm.
From one of the eastern states, Pennsylvania, perhaps.
You wouldn't know which town, would you?
No, I'm sorry.
Is there anything else you can tell us about him, Dr. Winderman?
Well, I would say he is an unhappy boy.
You say he's unhappy?
Yes, sir.
What do you mean?
Lonely, aloof. It must be very difficult for him. Other people. The children his age, he would be unable to talk to them. They would have nothing in common, even adults.
I see.
A brilliant mind does not necessarily make for a well-adjusted person, especially in one so young.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Winderman. Leave you one of our cards. If you should hear from him again, would you get in touch with us, please?
Yes, of course. If there's anything I can do for Peter...
It's very kind of you.
Is he, in some kind of trouble?
Well, we don't know yet, sir.
I did not mean to pry. Forgive me.
Well, the fact is he's been borrowing some books that don't belong to him.
Books?
Yes, sir, from libraries around town.
To want to read, to want to learn, is that such a serious crime? It does not seem like one to me.
Yes, sir.
And is that all he's done?
Well, he's taken some other things, too. Food, canned goods.
Yes, of course, I should have known. When he was here, I should have known.
Beg your pardon?
But it has been so long since I've seen one.
What's that, sir?
A boy who's hungry.
Frank and I went back to the office. The officers on stakeout reported that the boy had not returned to the cave. The stakeout was continued. 7:48 p.m. You still fooling with that thing?
Oh, I wasn't even thinking, Joe. It just happened to reach in my pocket.
Let me see. Did you get him in order yet?
I wasn't trying, Joe. I told you I didn't even know I was fooling with it.
You get it?
I wasn't trying.
Yeah. Juvenile Friday. Yeah. Uh-huh. What about? Okay. We'll be right over. Thank you. Kid walked into a grocery store, walked out without paying for his groceries.
Sound like our boy?
Store's on the corner of Green Street and Edgewood. Frank and I drove out to the Huggin grocery store on the corner of Green and Edgewood. 8:17 p.m. We pulled up and went inside.
I was waiting on another customer. I didn't pay much attention to him. Next thing I knew, he was sneaking out the door. Yes, sir? What can I do for you?
We're police officers. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
You from Central?
That's right.
I'm Davis, Hollywood.
Did you get a description here?
Yeah, my partner's out looking around. I'll give him a hand.
Okay, thank you.
Say, will you take care of the report?
Yeah, we will.
Thanks.
Now, this ain't no big robbery or anything like that. He was just a kid, you understand?
Yes, sir. Could you tell us what he looked like, Mr.
Huggin, Andy Huggin. The same's a sign on the window there.
That's right, sir.
Well, like I said, he was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Teenage, about halfway.
How's that?
Halfway in his teens, about 15 or 16.
I see.
Light hair, thin on a rail.
How was he dressed, sir?
Pants, sweater.
I see.
Just what did he take from your store, Mr. Huggin?
Well, I couldn't say for certain. I wouldn't have known he took anything if it hadn't dropped out from under his sweater when he was sneaking out the door.
Yeah.
Can of corned beef. That's what it was that fell.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see which way he went?
Out the door, up the street. Told the other policemen. I guess they were after him.
Yes, sir.
I don't know whether I done right or not.
How's that?
In reporting it, I expect it seems like a lot of fuss about a few groceries.
No, sir.
Trouble it is, you let one of them get away with something like this, the news gets around. Next thing you know, the store's full of them, you know. The kids try to steal you blind.
Yes, sir, we understand.
Worse than a plague of locusts.
Sergeant?
Yeah, David.
Out in the car?
What?
We got it.
The patrol car officers had found the boy hiding in an alley a few blocks west of the grocery store. We transferred him to our vehicle and drove him down to Georgia Street. 9:46 p.m., we took him up to the interrogation room for questioning.
Sit down, son.
All right, now you want to tell us about it?
About what?
Well, let's start with your name.
Well,
Paul
Paul what?
Jones.
You sure about that, are you?
I don't know my own name.
Yeah, you should.
Where do you live, Paul?
San Diego.
What are you doing in L.A.?
Just looking around, that's all.
Mm-hmm. What's your address, son?
Huh?
In San Diego, what's your address?
I don't know.
You know your name, but you don't know where you live.
Tony moved to California a few weeks ago.
You live with your folks?
Sure.
They have a telephone?
Uh-huh.
What's father's name?
Bill. Bill Jones.
How long you been in Los Angeles, son?
Just today.
Just today.
Hitchhiked in this morning.
Did you ever hear of a man named Carl Winderman?
Who is he?
Now, look, Pete, you're not doing yourself any good here. Did you hear what I said?
My name's Paul.
Why'd you steal that stuff from the grocery store, son?
I don't know.
What kind of an answer is that? You're in trouble, Pete. Serious trouble.
Am I?
All right, you won't tell us, we'll tell you. You didn't come to Los Angeles today. You've been here for a couple of weeks. You've been living in a cave up in the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah?
And this grocery store tonight isn't the first time you've gotten out of line.
Why'd you take all those books, son?
What books?
Well, just shows you how much these college professors really know.
Huh?
Like that Dr. Winderman. He says you're a smart kid. You got a real good head on your shoulders. Well, he's a pretty poor judge of brains, isn't he?
What, you know about it?
Well,
He's so far ahead of you guys.
thought you never heard of him. All right, now, Pete, let's quit fooling around. Let's have it straight. All of it.
What do you want?
Your name isn't Paul Jones. Now, what is it?
Siler.
Pete Siler?
Yeah.
Where's your home?
You found it.
I didn't mean that cave, your real home.
I don't know. I used to live with my sis back in Philly.
Well, what happened?
She got married, threw me out.
What about your folks?
They're dead. What the heck are you doing? That thing.
It's just a puzzle.
Oh.
You're supposed to line up the numbers, 1 through 15.
Yeah?
Here, you want to try it?
Is that all? Just line them up?
Sure.
Now what?
Oh, that's it, I guess.
Oh.
Why'd you come out to California, Pete?
Wanted to go to college. Thought maybe I could study physics.
Did you finish high school?
No, not the history and English part.
What do you mean?
Science and math, I finished them a couple of years ago when I was a kid.
Just how old are you?
16 almost. It'd be harder if you didn't look at it.
Huh?
That puzzle.
Yeah?
You know, let the guy see it first so he knows just where the numbers are.
Oh, yeah.
Then make him work it with his hands behind his back. For memory.
Oh.
Be harder that way.
Yeah.
I'll show you. Go ahead, mix them up.
Okay. I thought you were going to memorize it first.
I did. Take a look. I get them right?
Yeah.
It's harder that way, though.
All right, Pete, now let's go back to it. Why'd you take all those books?
I wanted to study them. I was going to return them when I was through. I couldn't get a library card, not without a real address.
What about the canned goods you've been stealing?
It wasn't much, just enough to eat. Well, what's going to happen to me now?
Well, that's not up to us.
Huh?
What do you think ought to happen?
Well, I don't know. I don't see where I did anything so wrong.
You don't, huh?
Well, did I?
You stole books, you stole food. You caused us a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Well, you're the whiz at math, aren't you?
Huh?
You add it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On April 16th, a hearing was held in juvenile court, the state of California, in and for the county of Los Angeles. Peter Ellis Siler was made a ward of the juvenile court and was placed in a foster home. Through the efforts of Dr. Carl Winderman, he was permitted to enroll in Bradfield University as a special student in the field of higher mathematics and physics.
You have just heard Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action, and starring Jack Webb, a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
My name's Jeff Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Lyon. Anthony J. Lyon. I'm the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, Investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the Diamond Quartet.
Well, this is the way it started. Melody called about 6 o'clock that night. She gave me the name of a restaurant out on the strip and said that Lyon was waiting for me. I drove out there and found him squatting at one of the corner tables. He had a big white napkin tucked under all of his chins, and he was working on a plate of crab louis and a bottle of beer. A tall peroxide blonde in slacks and dark glasses was sitting across from him, watching him eat. And a couple of bald-headed waiters were just sort of standing around looking at the ceiling.
Well, Regan, I see you got my message. You're right on time. Sit down. I want you to meet Miss, what did you say your name was, young lady?
Madge will do. Just plain Madge, fatso.
Regan, this is Madge.
I hate gumshoes. They all stink.
Okay, where'd you find her?
Madge? Madge works for Mr. Daly, Mr. Pete Daly. He's a new client of ours. Isn't that right, Madge?
All gumshoes are nosy. That's why I don't like them.
Madge is going to drive you out to Mr. Daly's residence, Regan.
Who's Daly?
Very nice chap. I spoke with him on the phone.
What's the job?
Well, it's a rather delicate matter, and I think Mr. Daly himself can explain it better than I.
Come on, all this gassing ain't getting us nowhere. The boss is waiting. Gumshoes talk too much.
Yes, Regan, yes. I told Mr. Daly you'd be there by 7 o'clock. You just run along with Madge here and see what it's all about.
Let's drift.
Nice to have met you, Madge.
Ah, dry up, fatso.
Good. Call me, Regan. Call me if you're running into any trouble.
Just plain Madge, who was carrying a .25 automatic in her purse. When we got into a Cadillac, we went out the pass, turned off a hill and back of Burbank. Daly's residence was at the end of a private road, a nice old Southern-style place with 2 or 3 private patrolmen guarding the entrance. They all needed shades. They kind of nodded when we got out of the car and went up to the front door. Naturally, there was a peep shutter there. It was real Southern.
Yeah? It's me, Felix. This is the private peeper the boss wants to see.
Okay, miss.
Come on this way.
Who is it?
Madge, I got your peeper. Inside. Here he is, Pete. Flat feet and all. His name's Regan.
Okay, Madge, that's all. Beat it. Sit down, Regan, sit down. Don't mind Madge. He's kind of antisocial.
Nice place you got. How's the gross?
Yeah, I do all right. 2 crab tables, 2 faro games, a little roulette in the living room, but I have to be careful.
I noticed that driving up.
There's lots of money thrown around here every night. Somebody might get some ideas. You know how it is.
What about the law?
Law? No trouble with them. I just don't let them know I'm in operation.
Mm-hmm.
In my business, I haven't much use for private detectives. I don't generally like them.
Neither does Madge.
But I happen to need one right now. I want you to do a little job for me.
You seem to have plenty of help around here. Wasn't that Felix Frazier at the door there? Last time I saw him, he was shadowing a banker up in Sacramento.
Yes, that was Felix, all right, but it's a little different. Yeah. Never seen this before? No? Well, it's a little bit of necklace called the Diamond Quartet. It's worth quite a chunk of cash. These 4 diamonds are good stuff.
So?
Dame named Annabella Callender left it here a week ago. She was in kind of deep at the roulette table and was wearing this. She left it for security.
How much did she lose?
About 5 G's, I guess. Kind of screwy little dame. She's a widow with a lot of money and a boyfriend named Teddy Silco. He paints or something. They come here.
And she loses steady?
Every time. Well, she sent me a check today for the full amount of what she lost.
Yeah?
And I want you to take this thing back to her tonight.
That it?
That's it. I got my dough. She gets her little diamond necklace back. Just business.
Well, it sounds simple.
It's simple. You're a licensed investigator, bonded, insured. Don't want any fuss about this. You just take it back. Very simple.
Okay. Now, you told me how simple it all is. Suppose you give me the hook. Did her check bounce?
You, want a drink? There wasn't any check.
I thought it'd be something like that.
Yeah. She called me a couple hours ago, said if I didn't have this thing back by tonight, she'd call a load of cops and come out and get it.
Not such a dumb dame at that.
As you're telling me. If she comes here with cops, I'm closed for the season, and this dump cost me a pile of dough. Felix was running the roulette table that night. I didn't know he'd taken this as security until we counted up. I should have pushed his mush in or something. Letting a dame like that make a setup.
Maybe you'll do better next time.
Ain't gonna be no next time, Regan. Here's her address. Here's the ice. Just take it to her, and I'll chalk it up to experience.
You better get yourself a new boy at that table.
Yes, you're telling me. You're telling me.
Well, I took a taxi over to the restaurant in Hollywood, picked up my Buick, and drove to an apartment house near Pico and Beverly Drive. A couple of men in a little gray coupe were sitting in front of the building smoking cigarettes and pulling on their hat brims. I figured Daly was making sure I got the right address. Upstairs on the 5th floor, I leaned into the buzzer and waited to see what Mrs. Annabella Callender looked like.
Oh, Teddy, I thought you'd never get here. The performance begins at 8:15, and you know the traffic. Oh, you aren't there.
You Annabella Callender?
Well, of course. Who are you?
My name's Regan.
Oh, Miss Regan. Well, I'm only waiting for Ted to get here so we can make first curtain of the Biltmore. We're seeing Carousel, and we're going to be late if he doesn't get here. You can understand that.
Yeah, it figures.
And I'm all ready, and he hasn't shown up. Well, good night.
Yeah. Her white ermine cape and the black strapless thing needed a touch. But she had it. That necklace I had in my pocket, or a very good copy, was hanging around her neck, and it looked like 4 Klieg lights at a Hollywood premiere. Come on.
Lay off. You bust the door. Lay off. What's the idea? You want to bust down the door? You drunk or something?
I've been pounding on this door for 5 minutes.
Well, that's too bad. Can't you read the signs? This building's closed. The scram, drift, push off, blow.
You got a jeweler in this building named Tartaglia?
Yeah, we got a jeweler named Tartaglia. Only don't want to see nobody because it's 9 o'clock at night. The joint's closed and he ain't here.
All right, slow down. He lives someplace, don't he?
Sure. There's a lot of houses that way. Why don't you try knocking on doors?
There wasn't any residence listed in the phone book. I thought maybe if I came down here to his office, you could tell me where I might see him.
I ain't going to tell you nothing.
Look, I'm a private investigator. I got to see him tonight.
Oh, how's little old expense account, Pilgrim?
It'll do.
Let me see, pal. The name's Freddie Leach. Your boy's a fat old pile of blubber with a lot of talk in this note. White Hotel, 208, 3 blocks straight ahead.
Thanks, Freddie.
Anytime, pal. Brother Sawbuck, I'll tell you where his girlfriend lives.
Well, come in, Mr. Regan. Come in. You find me a bit indisposed at this hour. I was preparing to retire, but you said it was a matter of jewelry. Therefore, Bert Tartaglia is at your service. Now then, sir, what is so urgent?
I came to see you about a diamond necklace. I found your name stamped on the inside.
House of Tartaglia, most respected name in diamonds as in all the lapidary arts. Most respected. I'm the last of 4 sons. All... But continue, Mr. Regan.
Take a look at this.
And how do you come into possession of the Diamond Quartet, sir?
A man named Daly, who runs a gambling club, hired me to take it back to a lady named Callender.
Gambling house? And how did Mr. Daly acquire it?
She lost it at the roulette table. She left it so she could raise the cash.
Deplorable conduct on her part. Annabella Callender, a very indiscreet young lady, to be sure. Lovely body, propelled by a ridiculous mind.
I tried to take it back to her tonight.
It's beautiful, isn't it, Mr. Regan? Beautiful.
I want to know if it's real or not.
Real, of course it's real.
You sure?
Mr. Regan, do you doubt my ability as a gemologist? Once in a lifetime, sir, only once in a lifetime does an artisan have the opportunity to create the perfect necklace.
How much will it pull?
Priceless in the amount of work. Roughly $65,000. See, here, under the light. See how carefully each stone is mounted. Without reservation, I pronounce the Diamond Quartet an incomparable masterpiece.
Well, I saw one just like it tonight.
Huh? I didn't quite follow you, sir. No one could create another Diamond Quartet except Bert Tartaglia.
Well, and somebody made up a pretty good imitation.
The finest workman at best would create only a crude resemblance. This kind of work demands an artist, Mr. Regan, an artist.
But it could get by.
Oh, to the unpracticed eye, yes. To the layman, perhaps, yes.
Mm-hmm. That's all I wanted to know.
Later to Nanquis herba, eh?
What was that?
Latin. A snake in the grass, eh?
Maybe.
Your expression tells me you are concerned for the safety of this piece. I have a safe here in my room if you care.
No, it'll be all right.
Well, then, you leave satisfied, I trust.
Yeah, thanks.
Think nothing of it, Mr. Regan. Think nothing of it. Just remember the House of Tartaglia when you want fine jewels. Good evening, sir.
In the lobby, I got 2 3-cent stamps from the clerk. He watched me put the Diamond Quartet in an envelope, address it to myself, and mail it right there. He blinked a couple of times, but I didn't tell him about my 2 pals parked across the street in the little gray coupe. They were sitting there, still sucking on cigarettes and pulling on their hat brims. When I walked outside, they got out of the coupe, came over to where I was lighting a cigarette. The tall one tapped me on the shoulder.
Here's the paper, Georgie. Want to ask him for a match? Georgie's nearsighted.
That's too bad.
That's him, Danny. Got a match, Peeper?
Georgie asks if you got a match, Peeper. He's a dummy, Georgie. Don't talk.
Got a match, Peeper?
What I tell you, he's a dummy.
He don't look like no dummy.
Why, he's a dummy, all right, ain't you, Peeper? See, he's a dummy, Georgie. I told him about you being nearsighted, and he said it was too bad. Didn't you, Peeper?
He still don't talk.
Go on, Peeper. Tell Georgie how sorry you are about him being nearsighted. I told you he was a dummy, Georgie.
How private eyes like you?
Georgie asked you a question. He wants to know if all private eyes is like you.
Danny boy says you're a dummy. You a dummy?
Georgie asked you another question. He wants to know if you're a dummy. See, he don't answer.
I don't like dummies.
We asked 3 questions already, and he ain't said nothing. That makes him a dummy.
Maybe we'd find something if we went through the dummy's pockets.
Yeah, even a dummy's got pockets. Ain't that right, dummy? Hold it, Georgie.
Hey, move just like a dummy.
What do you want?
Hey, talk.
Yeah. Make him talk again, Georgie. Oh. Make him talk bigger, Georgie. Talks real nice, but he don't say much. Maybe he's tough, Georgie.
He might think he's tough. But then again... You see? That's a tough.
Now it's my turn.
Hey. You don't talk no more, Danny.
This Peeper ain't no pretty picture, Georgie. Why you want to hold him up?
You are listening to the story of the Diamond Quartet, tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. 29,000 nurses are needed now to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. For the first time in history, qualified nurses are given the opportunity of receiving a commission in the regular Army Reserve. These nurses will remain on inactive status, ready to serve their country in the event of an emergency. 4,000 of them, if they wish, may choose active duty. Inactive reserve status will not interfere with the nurse's civilian life, but the educational opportunities offered her by the Army Medical Department will be of a great advantage to her in her work. So don't wait. If you're a registered graduate nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, drop a card now for complete information to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to the story of the Diamond Quartet and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Regan, can you hear me, Regan? Nurse, are you sure he's coming too?
He had quite a beating, Mr. Lyon, but he's coming around.
Regan, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Regan, can you hear me?
I think he's with us now.
It's me, Regan. What happened to you? Why didn't you call? Regan, do you understand me?
What's this?
That's your head. It isn't very pretty, let me tell you that.
I'll be at my desk, Mr. Lyon.
All right. Come on, give it to me. What happened? An hour ago, the receiving hospital telephones me that they picked you up in some gutter. I come down to see what's what, and you lay there and ask me, what's this?
Well, it's a wrong job. Another punk client.
As long as they've got the dough, we love them all. Who are you fighting with?
A couple of boys named Danny and Georgie.
A couple of boys named Danny and Georgie. Well, would you mind telling me just where you've been while you should have been doing what you were hired to do?
I was out with Danny and Georgie.
Sure. You were out with Danny and Georgie. But what did you do before that? And what did you do with the necklace? That Diamond Quartet or whatever it is.
I mailed it.
You mailed it? You were hired to deliver that thing personally, and you mail it.
Where's my clothes?
Regan, I'll never understand you. I'll never understand you or the way you do things. I send you out on a simple little job. All you have to do is take a necklace back, and what do? You wind up bleeding all over the city street. Here's your pants.
What time you got?
3 o'clock in the morning. It's always 3 o'clock in the morning when somebody telephones me that you're in trouble somewhere.
Well, why don't you go home and go back to bed?
I haven't been to bed. I haven't had one wink of sleep tonight. You know why? Because on top of all my other troubles, some dame who sounds like she has a suit full of hooch has been calling my place every half hour asking for you. My place.
Why didn't you tell her to call my place?
I did tell her to call your place. I told her a couple of 100 times to call your place. Then I told her to shut up.
Coat.
Here. You look terrible. Terrible.
She give you a name?
Annabella something or other. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
What I want to know is... Hey, where are you going? Who's going to pay this hospital bill? Where are you going?
Well, the cab driver circled twice before he picked me up, but he got me out to her place in 20 minutes. When I got upstairs, her door was halfway open, and the light from the hallway kind of seeped in. She was sitting in a big chair right by the door. I don't know why, but she was holding the phone on her lap, just sitting there, looking at nothing.
Oh, Mr. Regan. It's you. You came back.
Yeah. I don't think you're going to need this.
Oh. Well then, Mr. Regan. Well then. I suppose you've met some people tonight who know a great deal about me.
Some? A gambler? A jeweler?
And of course they told you how I carry on with money and all that. Everyone seems to know that.
Yeah, Daly told me.
Do you know about Charles? Charles and I had so many things together, and it was so much fun being alive with him. You like to have fun, Mr. Regan? I do think he enjoyed being alive with me. I mean, I cried when Charles was killed. I really did. I cried. I didn't know what to do. I cried.
How long ago was that?
Oh, Charles was killed 3 years ago. But now I have Teddy. He's really a dear. You should meet him. We should all have a drink together or something. Teddy's a fine artist. Very fine artist. I think you'll be very prominent someday. I do. I really do think Teddy will be very prominent someday. Of course, it wouldn't make any difference now. Did they tell you that did they tell you? It's funny. I can't seem to get my tongue adjusted to my mouth. Did that ever happen to you, Mr. Regan?
Sometimes.
Teddy asked me to marry him tonight.
He did?
Yes, I've been very lonely since Charles died. And it isn't my money that Teddy's interested in, I'm certain. Teddy has some money of his own, although many people don't know it. What is money, Mr. Regan? What would you say, money? Oh, yes, I go again with that business about my tongue. You think I should see a correctionist?
Why did you call me tonight?
You're the only detective I know. And I really don't know you. It's just that Mr. Daly said you were a detective.
Why did you want to see me?
I really can't understand money. I know it must sound strange to you, but some people live for it, and some people die for it, and
Come here. What's wrong? What is it? Come on.
Oh, they do look so funny. So very funny. I've seen them count money. Oh, so much money. And I really believe that's all they live for. They handle it and caress it now.
Come on, tell me what's wrong. What is it? What is it? She was pointing to a black spot across the room. I found the light switch and turned it on. Oh, yeah. They looked funny, all right. It was Daly and his dumb roulette table man, Felix. And both of them were as dead as you can get.
Darling. I've been waiting up all night. I knew you'd telephone and say you'd marry me.
Yeah. Your name's Silko?
Oh, yes, I was expecting...
My name's Regan. I'm a private investigator. I'm calling from her apartment.
Annabella's?
Now, listen. There's been a couple of murders here.
What?
She's had quite a jolt. She's going to need you and all the help she can get. I called homicide, and, well, it might be kind of rough for her.
I'll bring a doctor.
And a lawyer.
I've got a good one. I'll be there in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Well, he showed up about the same time Wendetti and the homicide boys got there. By that time, she couldn't even talk, and they had to put her to sleep. I told Wendetti what I knew about it, and he said we'd get it straightened around as soon as she had something to say. It was about 8 o'clock in the morning when I got home. I didn't expect my boy to show up so soon. He was already there.
Regan. I've been expecting you. Come in, sir. Come in. I've been amusing myself with your chessboard. So we meet again. Sit down. You've had rather a hectic night, I'll wager.
Your boys were pretty rough.
Georgie and Danny. Two men of another world, Regan. Not our world. Allow me to apologize for their action. And so unnecessary, too. I underestimated you, Regan. Such an ingenious method of protecting the Diamond Quartet. Why, sir, by the simple expedient of placing a 3-cent stamp on an envelope and mailing it to you yourself, you were hired as guardians the entire United States Postal Service, not to mention the Army, Navy, and Marine Corps.
You want one of these?
No, thank you, Regan. Much too early in the day. But go ahead. You give me cause to admire you again, sir. I'm one of those faint-hearted persons who cannot abide liquor until 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
All right. What happens now?
By gad, I admire your directness, Mr. Regan. When I met you last night, I promised myself you'd give me trouble, and you have.
Who's in on it?
Such directness. In answer, sir, that is a matter to be explained.
Double cross.
If you can bear my vanity, I have invented a new word. Triple cross. It does have a ring to it, doesn't it?
Sounds familiar.
My gad, sir, I like you.
Daly in on this?
Daly? No, of course not. A mere instigator. But when Madge explained to me that he was returning the Diamond Quartet, I first conceived the plan.
Just plain Madge.
She and her friends have been very valuable to me.
They knocked off Daly and Felix and planted them in the girl's apartment.
Right. With 2 cadavers in her living room, Mrs. Callender was very unlikely to discuss missing jewelry with the police.
Then it was a phony she was wearing, and she didn't even know it, huh?
And it caused all of this. If you had merely returned it, it would have been simple to remove it from her. But then...
And you just sit here and wait for the mail.
We wait for the mail, Mr. Regan.
What about your playmates?
You do act your role, don't you? And I like you for it, Mr. Regan. I wish you and I could have worked out something together. An unbeatable team. In answer, sir, I'm afraid I shall be sought for murder for 2 this night.
Danny and Georgie?
And, Madge. Does that name bother you as much as it bothers me? Give me a woman with a name like Celeste or Josephine or Roxanne. Those, sir, are proper names for the creatures. But Madge...
Where are the police going to find all these bodies?
In my hotel room, which I departed hastily.
I know a man down at Central Homicide named Wendetti.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. He's the best cop I've ever seen. You'll never get away with it.
Allow me to correct you, sir. I don't intend to get away with it. Observe me well. You see before you a man advanced in years, attached to a destitute and bankrupt jewelry firm, with nothing more to look forward to than a grim few years, and finally the end. Now an opportunity to live like a king, and by God, sir, I've taken it.
They'll pick you up before you can pack a bag.
I'll risk that. I shall turn the Diamond Quartet into cash, and with a well-laden purse, I shall be satisfied to elude the police over half the world. Oh, yes, they'll get me. In 2 years, 3 years, perhaps. By that time, I shall have spent the money. And what more could a man ask than a perfect fulfillment of all his wishes? Huh? I ask you, sir, as one gentleman to another, what more could a man ask? You have company, and I have a gun. Answer it. Tell him to go away. I'll be right beside you. All right. Open it.
One side, Thomas. I got a gun.
Madge.
Thought I'd find you here, bluff boy. Get into such a good job on me.
Caution, my dear. I have a gun, too.
I can last long enough to let you have it. Get out of my way, people. Oh.
Mr. Regan, sir. I believe I've been shot. I need assistance. I can't seem to hold my feet, sir. Can't seem to hold my feet. The mortal is nil nisi bonum, Mr. Regan. Or, if your second year Latin escapes you, speak well of the dead. It was an awkward plan at best. Wasn't it?
It was a lousy idea. Well, there wasn't anybody left for Wendetti to arrest, so we sat around and looked at each other. Wendetti agreed that Madge double-crossed Daly. Tartaglia double-crossed Madge and her boys. Yeah, triple-cross. Well, the Lion had something on his mind. He wanted to know, was I satisfied with what I got out of this case? I didn't answer him. I need the job.
The Army Nurse Corps Reserve still has commissions available. If you are a graduate registered nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, you may be eligible for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps section of the Regular Officers Reserve. Graduate work is provided at the Army's most modern teaching center, and the nurses obtain educational experiences that benefit them in both civilian and military nursing. If you believe you qualify for a commission in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan, with Wilms Herbert as Anthony J. Lyon. The role of Bert Tartaglia was played by Barry Kruger. Lorene Tuttle was Annabella Callender. It's CBS same time next week for trouble, suspense, and thrilling adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by E. Jack Newman, produced by Gordon T. Hughes, directed tonight by Cliff Howell. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Chesterfield brings you Dragnet.
Put a smile in your smoking.
Buy Chesterfield. Smoother. Cooler. Best for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Internal Affairs Division. A man who claims he's a policeman has been accepting bribes in your city. Evidence points to the fact that he is an officer. Your job? Check it out.
Stop! Start smoking with a smile with Chesterfield. Smoother, cooler, milder Chesterfield. Put a smile in your smoking, just give 'em a try. Chesterfield's best for you. They satisfy.
When you shop, stop. Remember, vacation time is carton time. The cigarette to take with you is Chesterfield, made the modern way, with Accuray. Take along a couple of cartons and put a smile in your smoking. Chesterfield, smoother, cooler, best for you. Remember, in the whole wide world, no cigarette satisfies like Chesterfield.
Put a smile in your smoking, just give 'em a try. Chesterfield's best for you. They satisfy.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, April 18th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of Internal Affairs Division. My partner is Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Fulton. My name's Friday. I was on my way into the office, and it was 7:58 a.m. when I got to room 36, squad room. Good morning.
Hi.
We keeping you up?
Huh?
There's a couch down the hall. Maybe you can use that.
Yeah. Remember a couple of months ago, Faye was on that quiz show?
Yeah. Yeah, seems I heard something about that.
Well, one of the prizes was a dog. You know, they were going to give us a little pup.
Mm-hmm.
Turned out they were giving away cockers. They're nice dogs and thoroughbreds.
Mm-hmm.
Faye and me talked it over and decided we'd rather have one of those basset hounds.
What are they?
One of those dogs with a little short hind legs and long ears. You know, long face, basset hounds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I see them in the magazines. You know, they got sad eyes, always look so sad.
Yeah.
Well, they're hard to get. We had to wait a while. I got the call Saturday. Pup was there.
Mm-hmm.
I went out and picked him up.
Mm-hmm. Named him Hector.
Yeah, that's it, Hector.
Why?
Why? Well, because the old expression kind of fit.
Mm-hmm.
Since Hector was a pup. Get it, Joe? Hector, see, still a pup. Old Hector the pup. I was up with him all night. Mm-hmm. He couldn't sleep. Kept whining.
Mm-hmm. You still work here, don't you?
I just stayed up and kind of hummed to him to comfort him.
You still working here?
Hmm? Oh.
Anything come in this morning?
Yeah, there's a couple of mug shots over there from Sacramento.
Thank you.
Sure be glad to get to bed tonight.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am. Something we can do for you?
Man down room 38, Bunko, told me to come here.
Yes, ma'am.
DeBetta, that's his name, said see you.
Mm-hmm.
Want to report something.
All right, would you like to sit down?
Thank you.
Now, what can we do for you?
I think it's been too long.
What's that?
Well, I paid for it over a month ago. I'm tired of waiting.
You want to tell us about what you mean?
Well, Henry should be home by now. It's been over a month.
Who's Henry?
My husband, Henry Farwell. When I gave the man the money, he said he'd get Henry out of jail right away. That's what he told me.
What man?
The man who came to see me.
Oh, yes, ma'am, but who was he?
A policeman.
8:12 a.m. We continued to talk to the woman. She identified herself as Mrs. Henry Farwell, and she gave us the full story.
When did this man approach you, ma'am?
Just a minute, Mr. Smith. I got it all written down.
Ma'am?
Got it right here in my bag. Yep, here it is. March 6th. That's when I met him.
Where was that?
What?
Where'd you meet him?
He come to the house, my house. Told me he wanted to talk to me about something. Said it was important.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know him. There wasn't any reason he'd have anything important to talk to me about. But he said he knew the mister.
You mean your husband?
That's right, Henry Farwell.
Is he in prison?
Yes. Been there for 3.5 years.
We don't like to ask this, Miss Farwell, but it's necessary.
Burglary. That's what he was convicted for. Judge told him he'd go to jail for 5 years to life.
Mm-hmm. Was this the first time he's been in jail?
I thought so. First, I thought it was all a mistake. They was wrong about the mister.
Yes, ma'am.
They weren't. Came out in the trial. Seems he'd done the same thing before, twice before.
I see.
I didn't know about it when we got married. Didn't have any idea.
Mm-hmm.
The mister's my second husband.
Mm-hmm.
First one died 10 years ago. Woman my age gets lonely. So when Mr. Farwell asked me to marry him, I said yes. Then I found out about the stealing.
Mm-hmm. Miss Mann said he knew your husband, is that right?
That's right. Told me they met several years ago.
Uh-huh.
Then he went on to tell me how the mister could get out.
What do you mean?
The way he told it, if you had friends who knew the right people, you could get out of jail.
What's that?
If the right people were paid, a man could get out of prison.
Uh-huh. And he wanted you to give him some money?
Not at first. When he came to the house at the beginning, he didn't even mention it, not at all.
When did he bring it up?
Oh, about a week later. Came over in the afternoon. I was out in the yard, and he said he'd met the people who were important, the ones who could get the mister out of prison.
Did he say who these people were?
No, just told me he'd met them.
Mm-hmm. Now, what happened then?
Well, on March 14th, he told me that it could be arranged for the mister to get out of jail.
Tell me, did he tell you how this could be done?
Well, from what he told me, he'd talk to the right people. That's the way he said it, the right people.
I see.
If he gave him $5,000, the mister could be turned out.
5,000, huh?
Yes. I told him I couldn't give him that much, that I just didn't have it.
What'd the man say when you told him that?
Asked me how much I could give him.
Mm-hmm.
I said if I sold a few things, did what I could to get more money, I might be able to pay $3,500.
Well, what'd he say about that? Say it'd be all right?
No. He told me he'd have to go back and talk to the people. Ask them if it'd be enough.
When'd you see him again?
2 days. He came back.
What'd he say then?
Told me it'd be okay. The money'd be enough.
Mm-hmm.
I got it together and gave it to him.
That same day?
No, it was 2 days later, on March 16th. That's when I gave him the money.
I see.
And it's been over a month now, and the mister still hasn't been turned out. I wrote to him, but he doesn't say anything about coming home. I don't think he knows anything about it.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I don't want to cause any trouble. Just want the mister out of prison, or else I want my money back.
He told us this man was a policeman?
That's right.
In what city?
I don't understand.
Well, what city did he work in, or what city did he say he worked in?
Here, in Los Angeles, right here.
Did he show you some identification?
Oh, yes. I wouldn't just hand over the money without that. I saw his badge.
Mm-hmm. Did it look like this one?
Let me see. Yeah. Just like that one. Same thing.
Mm-hmm. Did he give you a name?
Yes. He said he was Jim Sorvell. Sergeant Jim Sorvell.
That's S-O-R-V-E-L-L?
That's right.
I'll check it.
Did you see anything else to identify him?
What do you mean?
Well, did he show you any other cards, anything else?
You mean it might be a wrong name?
That's right.
Oh, no, I'm sure about that. I wouldn't just hand my money over to anybody. I was sure.
Well, how do you mean?
I saw his driver's license.
Did he tell you where he worked?
You mean in what department?
That's right.
Yes. It's one of the reasons I believed him, because of where he worked.
Yeah.
Right here in the city hall.
While I continued to talk to Mrs. Farwell, Frank put in a call to personnel. 3 minutes later, he called me out into the hall.
Let me close the door.
What do you got?
Well, I checked the personnel records.
Yeah, what'd you find out?
Looks like she was telling the truth.
What?
There is a Jim Sarvell.
City Hall?
Well, closer than that.
Huh?
Auto theft detail.
We put in a call to auto theft detail and asked that Sergeant James Sarvell see us right away. While the victim waited in the squad room, Frank and I took the officer down to the interrogation room.
Go ahead, sit down, Jim.
Yeah. Thanks. Well, what's this all about?
Well, it's a rough one, Jim. We hope you got the answers.
I'll give me a try.
How long you been a policeman?
12 years.
How long you been working auto theft, Jim?
2 years this time. I worked there before, about 5 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Well, what's this all about, anyway?
You know a woman named Farwell? Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think I do.
How about a man, Henry Farwell?
No, I don't think so. No, wait a minute.
Hmm?
A few years ago when I was working burglary, seems we had a suspect with that name.
Yeah.
Big guy. Fallen twice before, the way I remember. Bad name around town.
Might be the same one.
What about him? I heard he went to the joint a couple of years ago.
Well, his wife came in here this morning.
Yeah.
Says she gave a man $3,500 to get Farwell out of jail.
Lawyer?
No. Some kind of a deal. This fellow said he knew the right people. Told her a little juice would open the doors for her old man.
How do I fit into this?
Well, this guy told her he was a policeman. Showed her ID to prove it.
What name?
Yours.
You believe her?
Well, no, we don't want to. We figure we get your side of the story first.
Well, there's nothing to tell you, Friday. I had no part in the action. That's the truth.
I hope it stands up.
It's got to. I don't know anything about the deal. Nothing at all. I wouldn't know the woman if she walked in here right now.
Well, then you don't mind letting her take a look at you, then?
No. Bring her in.
Right? Yeah.
How'd she happen to pick me?
Told us the fellow that took her gave your name.
Must be a goof up someplace.
Mm-hmm. You got your driver's license?
Yeah.
Want to show it to me?
Sure. Next line is, take it out of your wallet, isn't it?
I don't like this any better than you do, Jim.
Yeah. Here.
You got your badge on you?
Yeah. You want that, too?
Well, I want to see it.
All right.
Miss Farwell says the suspect showed her a badge. Says it looked good.
I don't think it was mine.
Oh.
Here.
You want to step inside, Miss Farwell?
Yes, thank you.
All right, Miss Farwell. You know this man?
Yeah. Seems I've seen him someplace before. Yes.
Now be careful and look carefully. Do you know where you've seen him?
I'm trying to think.
Take your time. Be sure.
Yes, ma'am. Please be sure.
Yeah, hair's a little shorter. Had a mustache before. But I can tell. I can tell for sure.
What's that?
He's the one that took my money.
Mrs. Farwell was taken down the hall where she made a complete report. We continued to interrogate Sergeant James Servell, but he maintained his innocence. He was suspended from the police department pending an investigation by our detail and the district attorney's office. A week went by. During that time, we talked to Servell's friends and the men he worked with. His financial condition was investigated. He owed some money, but he was not behind in his payments. His bank account didn't show any large deposits, and from what we could find out, he was not living beyond his means. If he was guilty, he hadn't spent any of the money that he'd taken. We asked the stats office to make a run on con men who had used a similar approach. They came back with a list of 18 possible suspects. We pulled the mug shots from the packages on the men, and we drove out to see Mrs. Farwell. She showed us into the living room of a very small house.
Now then, what is it this time? You come to bring my money back?
No, ma'am.
Well, when am I going to get it? Seems like a long time. The mister's still in prison, and I haven't got my money.
Yes, ma'am. We'd like you to look at some pictures, if you would.
What for?
We'd like to see if you recognize any of the men.
Sure, I got nothing else to do. Let's see 'em.
There you are, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. All right. Now, looked at the pictures. Now I get the money.
No, ma'am.
When do I get it?
Well, we haven't been able to recover it yet.
What?
We haven't found it yet.
What about that man you got, Sorvell? What about him?
Ma'am?
Make him tell you where the money is. He took it. Make him tell.
From what we've been able to find out, he hasn't got it.
Now we get down to cases, huh?
What's that?
Let's lay the cards on the table. I'm getting pretty mad about it. When I first came to see you, I wanted the money back. Either that or to have the mister out of prison. Either one. It didn't much matter which, but I did want one of them.
Yes, ma'am, we understand.
Now, you've got the man who took the $3,500. Got him in jail. And you tell me you can't find the money. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am, that's right.
You want to know what I think? You want to know?
What's that?
I think you're all in it together. That's what I think. The whole bunch of you, all in the thing together.
That's not true.
You say so, but I think different. Now, I'm going to tell you something, Mr. Friday. I'm not going to wait any more. I want the money back or I'm going to the newspapers again. I'll tell them what's happened. They'll get me some action.
Now, just a minute, Miss Farwell.
No, I won't. I've done all my waiting already. You think that just because I'm an old woman you can push me around. Well, you just got another thing coming. I want that money, and I want it right now, and if I don't get it, you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
We're doing everything we can to get your money
Well, then
back.
you better start doing more, because I'm not happy at all. All you cops, you stick together. Well, this time it's not going to do you any good.
You don't understand, Miss Farwell.
I think I do, maybe too much. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'll give you just 3 days to get that money back, or I'll scream my head off to the newspapers. You've got the man in jail. Next thing, you'll be telling me he didn't do it.
We're not sure he did.
Uh-huh. Well, he did. I guess I know. I'm the one he stole from. He's the man, and I want to see him in prison, too.
Well, if he's guilty, that's where he'll go.
I'm telling you he is. What more do you need?
Just one more thing.
What's that?
Proof. Frank and I went back to the office and met with Captain Fulton. We laid out the results of our investigation. According to what the victim had told us, we had the right man in custody. But according to the evidence we'd found, it was a case of mistaken identity. 2 days later, on Thursday, April 28th, we got a call from a bartender out on Vermont Avenue. Frank and I drove out to see him.
Hi.
I'd like to see Vince Elkhart.
I'm him. What do you want?
Police officers. It's Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Oh, yeah? Want to come back here? We can talk.
Yeah, fine. All right, what do you want to see us about?
I know I'm letting myself in for a lot of trouble. Anything you guys can do to help me out, I'd appreciate it. But I ain't asking for no special treatment.
Well, now, suppose you tell us what it is.
Well, night before last, a couple of kids came in. They sat at the bar, ordered a drink.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they looked kind of young, so I asked to see their ID. Playing it safe, you know.
Go ahead.
Well, they showed me their driver's licenses. I checked them. Looked all right to me. So I served them.
Yeah?
Guess it made them kind of embarrassed. They only had one and then shoved off.
Mm-hmm.
They was no sooner out of the place when this guy came up. Told me he wanted to talk.
What about?
Said the two kids were underage, minors. That I'd served them and the beef was on.
Well, who was he?
That's why I called you. Maybe I was wrong serving the kids. Maybe I did make a mistake, but I sure ain't going to stand for no shakedown. Not a penny's worth.
This man tried it, did he?
Sure. Told me if I paid off, he'd forget what he saw.
Well, who is he?
Cop. Name of Jim Serval.
Put a smile in your smoking. Next time you buy cigarettes, stop. Remember this. It's today's biggest cigarette news.
Chesterfield is made the modern way with Accuray.
The Accuray controller is the greatest improvement in cigarette making in years, and it's a Chesterfield exclusive. This amazing quality detective electronically checks and controls the making of your Chesterfield, giving a uniformity and smoking quality never possible before. So buy Chesterfield today. For the first time, you get a perfect smoke column from end to end.
A perfect smoke column from end to end.
From the first puff to the last puff, your Chesterfield smokes smoother. From the first puff to the last puff, your Chesterfield smokes cooler.
From the first puff to the last puff, Chesterfield is best for you.
Next time you buy cigarettes, stop. Remember,
Chesterfield is made the modern way with Accuray.
Put a smile in your smoking, just give them a try. Light up a Chesterfield, they satisfy.
We got a description of the man who tried to blackmail Vince Elkhart. It matched Sergeant Jim Sorvell. While I continued to talk to Elkhart, Frank put in a call to the policeman and asked him to come over to the bar. It took him 12 minutes to get there. He was brought into the place and confronted by the bartender.
Would you turn around?
Sure.
How's that? Uh-huh. Yeah.
How about it?
He hasn't any doubt as far as I'm concerned.
No.
He's the wrong man.
We made arrangements for Vince Elkhart, the bartender, to come down to the city hall and go through the mug books. He was unable to find a picture of the suspect. We contacted CII up in Sacramento and asked them to check their files. Thursday, 5:30 p.m., we returned to the bar.
No. Come right down to it, I guess I should have known he wasn't a cop. Should have known it all along.
Have you seen this fellow before?
I'm not sure about that. Seems like I might have, but I can't be sure.
Mm-hmm.
We do a pretty good business in here. A lot of people. He might have been around, but I can't name a date or time.
Was he with anybody the night he was in here, do you remember?
I don't remember. Matter of fact, I don't even remember him coming in. Just all of a sudden, after the kids left, he was at the bar, tossing me the pitch. Really saddened me to think a cop would pull a stunt like that.
Well, what'd you tell him when he asked you for the payoff?
Said for him to get out of the place. That if he was going to make a pinch, to go ahead and do it, or else clear out.
Did he leave?
Yeah. Said I didn't give him any choice. Walked out.
Hello. Yeah, that's right. Just a minute. Hey, Vince.
Yeah?
Catch the phone, will you?
Yeah. Excuse me.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Sure, go ahead.
Hello? Yeah, that's right. Who? Oh, yeah. I don't know. Yeah. No, I understand. Well, it's nice of him. Sure, I thought about it. Okay. Yeah. Goodbye. You guys must live right. That was him.
The phony cop?
Yeah. He'll be right over.
Frank and I took up positions in the back of the bar. 20 minutes later, the suspect walked in.
Hi, Elkhart. Hello. Want to give me a Coke High?
Sure.
Looks like him.
Well, it's sure been cold lately, huh?
Yeah.
Not doing much business.
Slow night. Here's your drink.
Thanks. Where can we talk?
It's all right here.
And what about the two guys in the back?
They won't bother anybody. Both gassed.
All right, Alcott, what about it?
You mean the payoff?
That's right. I talked to the boys downtown. They say they'll let you off the hook for $750.
That's a lot of money.
Your license is worth more, isn't it?
I suppose so. But I got to know what I'm buying. Who are these guys downtown?
Well, that doesn't come into it. All you got to do is dig up the money.
How high does the juice go?
What do you mean?
Just that. How far up does the payoff go?
All the way to the top.
We got enough. All right.
Yes, sir. You play along with us, and you'll do all right.
This was him.
All right, mister, let's go.
What are you talking about? What is this?
Police officers, you're under arrest.
For what?
Suspicion grand theft, impersonating an officer, and we ought to be able to figure up a couple more on the way downtown.
Oh, hey, you guys are wrong. You made a mistake.
Sure we have. Stand still.
Nice clean.
You're going to be awful sorry about this.
Is that right?
Sure, I got a lot of friends in town. Some of them pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
You mind giving me your names and numbers? I want to be sure I got the right dope on you guys. Time I get through, you'll both be working so far out, you'll need a passport to get home.
Mm-hmm. Got it all figured, haven't you?
Front, back, and in the middle.
Yeah.
Like reading a story.
Well, I don't know about the first part.
Yeah.
But I can tell you how it's going to end. The suspect was taken down to the city hall. He refused to give us his name, and a thorough search of his person failed to turn up anything to aid in identifying him. His fingerprints were rolled, and while we waited for the results of the check, Frank and I talked to the suspect in the squad room.
How long you figure you're going to be able to keep this thing up?
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, come off it. We've got you dead to rights, and you know it.
News to me.
Why don't you tell us who you are?
I forgot.
You know a man named Jim Sorvell?
I don't think so.
Well, according to that bartender, you said you were Sorvell.
Oh, he's got a big mouth.
Look, have you ever been arrested?
I forgot.
You better get your memory back.
Why?
Okay. ID, Smith. Yeah? Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. Toss me that pad, would you?
Here you are.
Thanks. All right. 46? Yeah. Yeah. Right. 52, huh? Okay. All right, thanks a lot. You better get in touch with those big friends of yours.
I will when it's necessary.
Well, time just came up. We got your record.
Hmm?
Full name, Charles Bobo Kiernan Offner. You've fallen twice in California, once for GTA, once for attempted robbery. There's an outstanding one from Eureka and 2 from out of state, all 3 on charges of extortion. Shall I read the rest of it?
How about it?
You don't have to. I'm in the box.
Where's the badge and the driver's license?
My place.
Where's that?
Hotel over on Grand.
Where'd you get the badge?
Bought it. Guy I know. It's one of the old ones. Mark doesn't know the difference.
Yeah. How about the license?
Made that up myself.
Why'd you pick Sorvell?
Looked like a good dodge. A cop who's going to cause trouble.
Why him?
Tagged a cleaning store out in Highland Park one night. Must be the place where the Sorvell does business. Clerk thought I was him. We got to talking. Things just worked out.
What about the prison deal? How'd you build that for yourself?
Well, I know a guy up at Q. He buddies up with a prisoner, gets all the information, and kites a letter out to me, and I pull the swindle.
How many times you worked the deal?
Collected 3. The last one was an old woman.
What'd you take?
$3,500.
Just you and the guy up in the joints, that all there is?
Yeah.
You willing to make a statement?
Sure.
All right, we'll call a stenographer.
Look, can you tell me something?
What's that?
The 2 out-of-state beefs, you think they'll extradite me?
We don't call it. Why?
I'd rather do my time here in California. It's nicer here.
Yeah.
Prettier. Lots of nice scenery in California. It's different.
Well, I wouldn't worry.
Hmm?
You won't see much of it.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 28th, trial was held in Department 96, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Chesterfield, made the modern way with Accuray. I wonder if you realize what that means to you. For the first time, you get a perfect smoke column in your cigarette. A smoother smoke. A cooler smoke than you've ever had before. To put a smile on your smoking, try 'em. Chesterfield.
Charles Kiernan Offner was tried and convicted on grand theft money, 3 counts, and received sentence as prescribed by law. Grand theft money is punishable by imprisonment for a period of not less than 1, nor more than 10 years in the state penitentiary. Sergeant James Sorvell was reinstated in his duties with full back pay. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Frazier. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Helen Klebe, Than Wyan, Herb Ellis, Jack Crucian. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely different Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
This is it, L&M Filters. It stands out from all the rest. Miracle tip, much more flavor.
L&M's got everything.
It's the best.
Yes, L&M's got everything. Superior taste, superior tobaccos, superior filter. It's the Miracle Tip, pure and white. Buy L&M, America's best filter tip cigarette.
Hear Dragnet next week, same time, same station.
This is the NBC Radio Network.
The American Broadcasting Company presents Pat Novak for Hire.
Sure, I'm Pat Novak, for hire. Down on the San Francisco waterfront, the only use they have for sentiment is to pick your pocket while you're saluting the flag. If you hang out around there as long as I have, you'll even learn to sleep with one hand on a cash box. So I wasn't expecting any cascade of lilies when Joe Adams drove down to Pier 19. He'd phoned that he was in a hurry and would stop by and pick me up in his car. He said he had a quick job for me to do. That was about all I knew about him. I wasn't worried about that either. In my work, you get used to odd-shaped hires, including those from guys who looked like a bundle of twigs with shoes on and drove like they owned the keys to the city.
Novak, this is a soft buck. All you got to do is watch the joint.
If you keep driving through red lights like that, we'll both end up looking at the ceiling in the morgue.
So I disagree with the traffic department. Look, the joint's in North Beach, Vallejo Street. Here's the number. I wrote it down.
So you can read and write.
What do you mean?
What's the pitch? You afraid of mice?
No, and there's no extra cards in this deck.
Yeah? So far, it makes about as much sense as an 8-fingered glove.
Look, I have to meet a guy in Los Angeles. I haven't much time to make my plane. I lost my keys, so I had to bust in the door to get into my place. It was too late to get a locksmith. So I want you to watch until I get back tomorrow. Is that hard?
The way you're driving, breathing's hard.
You scare easy.
I scare plenty. I like to live.
Give me a good reason.
You wouldn't understand. You expect visitors tonight?
Look, I've got some stuff that I'd like to see around when I get back. And stop trying to read between the lines in this deal. It's all in the black type.
You can say that about a funeral speech.
You still worried about the way I drive?
No. Only why take a plane when this is faster?
Okay, if you can stop shaking long enough to walk, you can start here.
On the way back, I'll look for your brains.
Grab a cab. I'll pick up the check for it. And don't knock. Go right in. I'll be seeing you.
Probably in 4 pieces.
And keep awake, will you? Some of my neighbors would steal the handle off a blind man's cup.
Don't worry. I'll keep both eyes open.
You sound like you're saying one thing and thinking something else.
About keeping awake?
Yeah, what's worrying you, ghost?
I'm not buying this show the way you're staging it. Something sour in the deal. Yeah, that's all right, too. Just as long as you don't get any fancy ideas of making me the patsy.
Boy, you do scare easy.
Yeah, and I pay off bum debts, too.
Now I'm getting scared. So long, sucker.
Adam's joint turns out to be one of those walk-up flats. A nice wooden place that made you want to run for the firebox every time someone dropped a cigarette ash on the floor. The door was smashed around the lock all right, and the lights were out. When I found the switch and began to look around, it showed 4 rooms full of fancy furniture and decorations that made you wonder about Adam's private life. After I found out where the whiskey was located and pried 3 cushions loose from the easy chair, I looked around for something to do. There was a bookcase full of mystery stories and this and that. I passed the mysteries up without studying them. I knew that in every one of them the detective would come out on top. Yet I knew 4 private eyes who'd started out on just such trails and ended up in urns in Cypress Lawn. There was one book with a purple cover called Reckless Moonlight, with pictures. I was on page 30 with pictures when I was interrupted. They were too manly to make me glad. I jumped across the room and switched off the lights. And I stood just inside the door and waited. He didn't even knock. He came right in. From the back, he looked big enough to be a 10-ton trailer. He was fumbling in his pocket when I broke up the act. I chill up on the pocket pick, and this is a gun in your back.
If you shoot, you'll hit a policeman's badge. Think that over.
There's housebreaking a sideline with you, Hellman.
I'd know that voice in a nightmare.
And they blame gangsters for the crime wave. They don't know where to look.
Just stand still, sweetheart, till I get my flash working.
You want to borrow some burglar tools?
I'll settle for some better manners, and right now.
Where I come from, better manners started with knocking before you come cramming through a door.
Where you came from, they didn't have doors. Just a damp rock. What's the idea of turning out the lights?
How could I tell who was coming? You don't smell that bad.
Do you tell me why you're here, or do I bounce it out of you?
Don't worry. You can't parlay it into anything to tell a judge. A guy named Adams lives here. He had to get in a hurry, broke the lock, grabbed some things, and headed for the airport. He hired me to watch the place till he gets back tomorrow.
He hired a bulldog to watch his steak?
You don't like this story, huh? What do you want, mad musicians?
You're mad enough without music. Tell me more.
That's all there is till you started whipping in the fancy trimming.
I could see that and raise it without even stringing.
You couldn't raise a rumpus on New Year's Eve.
No? And how about the murder of Thomas Van Dyke?
I must have looked surprised. Hellman was pleased and mysterious. He kept prowling around the house, looking at books, up on shelves and behind the furniture like he expected to find Van Dyke's body there. In the meantime, he filled me in on the case. Van Dyke had been a heavy money operator in show business, sports promotions and such. He ran around with the mink and diamond crowd and did enough charity work on the side to build up a reputation for being a pillar of the community. Everyone was surprised when he turned up dead, including the police. Someone had shot him without leaving any signature on the job. The case had remained unsolved for almost a year. Of course, at the speed Hellman thought, he might have just found out about it. Now he was passing out hints the thing had grown hot again.
I was checking through the evidence and file, and I ran across something we'd missed.
Yeah, grand piano.
Some stuff in a diary. Have you been messing around in these books?
Is that why you're here? To borrow a book?
The diary didn't make any sense at the time of the death, but we turned up a vag the other day who worked with Van Dyke and some of his underground connections.
And now Van Dyke's the king of the thieves.
Something like that. I put together the stuff this vag told us with some of the things in the diary, and it began to look like pay dirt. There's a book missing.
Yeah, the Rover Boys, it's over your head, Hellman.
Death in Herald Square, it's called. And don't play that innocent routine too hard or you'll tire it out.
You're making about as much sense as a pig in a candy store.
The vag tied this address into one of the clues. How do you like them apples?
I wouldn't buy them at 10 cents a crate.
Look, Bright Eyes, I don't like waterfront punks sticking their guns in my back in the dark. I don't like you messing in this racket.
Are you unhappy, nervous, run down?
I want you to keep your nose out of this scamper, Novak. And if you think that's just a lot of breath, try me.
Why should I leave this house just because you're having a nervous decline?
Don't think I'm buying that routine about some guy hiring you to watch his clothes while they went flying. You got a lead in this murder, and you're trying to track it down.
How much is the reward again?
$10,000. Who said anything about a reward?
Yeah, so that's why you're nervous.
Keep out of this, Novak. I'm warning you.
You're hot for the payoff. I should have known you wouldn't get up off your fat...
I'm giving you one more chance to get out, Novak.
I was hired to do a job, Hellman, remember?
All right, wise guy. Come on. Open the closet.
Your nose is itching. Open it yourself.
Okay, Novak. See any men's clothes in there?
Not in this year's style.
Snap it up, Novak. Haven't you remembered by now that Joe Adams was the girl?
All right, so the guy dealt me a joker. I don't mean I'm trying to crash your party.
The dame Liz here is named Dodo Sandberg, and she ain't lonely. But you're going to be Novak, and soon.
Dodo Sandberg.
Maybe she'll come to see you in jail.
You're not booking me, Hellman.
I told you to stay out of this, Novak.
You got nothing on me but a nervous twitch because you think I might beat you to that reward.
I got nothing on you, except housebreaking. Come on down to the station.
Deal me out.
You want to argue? Hey, who turned out the lights?
I'm getting to like that Adams or somebody.
Stand where you are, Novak.
Sorry, Hellman, I just remembered the date. With $10,000. Hellman chased me, but the way he's built, he didn't have a prayer. He hit the street, doubled around a couple of corners. I couldn't even hear him. When I got back my breath, I walked along for a while and tried to put what I had together. Any way I looked at it, one thing was clear. Joe Adams had played me for a country boy in some setup that had a whole lot more in it than showed on the table. I needed to see Adams to square that deal, but something Hellman told me seemed even more important. I liked the idea of trying my chances of cutting into that $10,000 reward for Van Dyke's death. All I had to work on was a dame called Dodo Sandberg and a book called Death in Herald Square. I looked at the clock and found I still had time to make it to the main library before it closed for the night, so I headed that way. When I got in the place at the Civic Center, it took the librarians quite a bit of scrambling around to get the book, but they finally turned it up just before closing time. I tucked it under my arm and started out of the place when the dame fell in step beside me. A nice set of curves tucked away in one of those new-style dresses with so many extra built-in bumps it looked like a sack of potatoes.
Didn't I meet you in Scarsdale?
The shy type.
I used to be. I outgrew it.
Keep right on growing somewhere else.
You have to be that way?
My hobby's books.
I noticed. That's why I wanted to meet you. I like the books you choose.
Before I pick that up, what's your name?
Dodo Sandberg. Watch out for the stairs.
So you're after the book, too?
I didn't say that.
I know. It's my fascinating personality.
A very good friend of mine wrote that book.
Does my reading it strain your eyes or something?
It's very interesting. Now let's talk about you.
You get around, don't you?
What do you mean by that?
What became of Joe Adams?
That's a question for his mother to worry about, Patsy.
I don't mind helping her.
Do they have to be mothers?
You need help like Midas needs dough.
There's help and help. What if a girl's lonely?
You aren't built for the job. Let's get back to Adams and the book.
Adams is no problem. He lives at the Standard Hotel on Polk Street.
Careless, isn't he, to forget that?
And how did you suddenly get a yen to read Death in Herald Square?
A cop told me about it. Why?
Because there's a better book on the same subject. It's called Death Waits Ahead.
Am I supposed to turn that into some kind of warning?
It could be. And here's a sample of what I mean.
She worked fast and smooth as a piston. There was some kind of judo, I guess. I was too busy falling to be sure. The stairs didn't help any. By the time I picked myself up, she was out of sight. And so was the book. I sat there a while and thought about women. When I went back to the library desk, I didn't buy me anything. Seems they only had one copy of the book. It wasn't popular, they said. When I seemed anxious about getting a copy, they sent me to a bookstore on 3rd Street, which stayed open late. By the time I got there was nobody in the place except one of the hired help looking bored by the cash register. I asked him for the book, and he quit looking bored right away. He began to look nervous. He said he didn't have the book. He'd never heard of it, and they were closing anyway. Whatever the guy was, he didn't have a card in the Actors Union. I guess Crowley realized that as soon as I did. When I said I'd look around anyway, a curtain twitched in the back of the place, and he came out. A big guy with a nasty disposition.
You could do better than that.
Did someone send you to tell me how to live?
You're looking for death in Herald Square?
The word's all over town.
You ought to be out eating something instead of nosing around where you're not wanted. You ever heard of the prisoner eating a hearty breakfast?
That's a warning. You're third in line.
Yeah? Who else is interested?
A cop and a dame. You ought to team up and work it into 3-part harmony.
When they warned you, they were just trying to act like bad news. When I warn you, it's certified.
You don't look 8 feet tall. Put some meat on your skeleton.
My name's Pete Crowley. Did you ever hear of me?
I must read the wrong funny papers.
You got connections around the city.
You can say that about a sewer pipe. Something's making you twitch. Trot it out where I can see it.
Dodo Sandberg tells me you got your nose up in the air over the Van Dyke killing.
Does that worry you?
I'm hiding right now in Mexico.
What's the death's head routine for?
Before you run to the cops with a finger, listen carefully. I picked up Van Dyke's rackets when he dropped them. They pay off very nicely. I like the way they're moving along. I don't want you or any of the eager beavers from the Kearney Street station to nose over the apple cart.
I came here for a book. You don't look like it.
Also, I don't like anybody bothering Dodo. And that includes sailor salesmen and smart guys looking for a new home.
If she doesn't want anybody ringing her bell, tell her to take the signs out of her windows.
You look like a fairly bright boy. Take a tip. Fade out of this scramble while you're still in Mobile.
And if I don't?
Stick around and I'll show you my muscles.
I'd rather look at Dodo's.
2 of my muscles used to be rustlers. Think it over.
It began to look more and more like trouble, doubled in spades. I began to get the feeling if I planned to sit in the game anymore, it was time to start counting up the cards and seeing how the mirrors were placed. But the best guy for that sort of work was an old alcoholic friend of mine called Jocko Madigan. Jocko was a one-time doctor around town who gave up his practice when he learned that alcohol made him feel better even when he wasn't sick. Finding him was like taking a phone survey of the downtown bars. I pitched a strike at the 5th one I tried. At first, he didn't like the idea of moving, but when I told him I was phoning from a 3rd Street bar, he said he'd hop a cab. He came in while I was working on my second drink.
Patsy, my boy, I'm glad to see you, both of you. Or is that only 2 heads?
I could use 2.
That's an involved way of saying you're in trouble. Goodbye.
Listen, Jocko, I got my foot in the door of a deal that might pay off big.
All you've got your foot in is a dirty shoe, Patsy, and with your usual luck, you'll probably end up with Hellman stepping on it.
He stepped on it already.
Oh, he did? Good. How is the old walrus anyway?
That's what I've been trying to tell you. I bounced into him tonight, and he was hot on the trail of the men who knocked off Van Dyke a year ago.
They're safe. Hellman couldn't put his finger on a fire eater in a darkened room.
What do you know about a book called Death in Herald Square?
What do you know about the home life of the Macrocephalus pinebombix? As I was saying before thirst choked me off, some people collect seashells, some raise dogs, some go after goldfish or matchbox covers or pretty women, but not Patsy Novak. Oh, no. Patsy's different. Patsy wants to collect murders.
Did you ever hear of the book?
What book? You're talking too fast.
Death in Herald Square. Van Dyke's murder ties into it somehow.
Talk sense, Patsy. Things are blurred enough without you jabbering nonsense.
Nonsense? I'm not on the right trail. Why have I been warned off 3 times already, including a threat from Pete Crowley?
Are you asking me?
Look, Jocko, there's $10,000 reward for the murderer.
Well, why didn't you tell me that 10 minutes ago and avoid all this verbiage?
Well, if you'd get your nose out of that whiskey bottle, you...
Skip the greetings, son. Let's get on to the money matters. What do you want me to do?
It's an old book. You know where to find it. I tried the library, but a dame called Dodo grabbed the dice.
I know just how to get it. A friend of mine in the Panhandle has a small bookstore and home distillery.
Listen, there's a Joe Adams fits in there somewhere. See what you can get on him, will you?
Do go on. You fascinate me.
Well, 2 other people were nervous about me since the thing broke. One is Crowley and the other is Dodo Sandberg. It seems to be tied to Crowley somehow. Can you get a check on him for me?
For $10,000, I can get a count on the fillings in their teeth. Is this Dodo Sandberg pretty?
Why?
I want to know where you'll be in case I have to phone. So long, lover.
I paid for Jocko's drinks and went out to the Standard Hotel. The room clerk gave me Joe Adams' number. He looked a little worried when he told me that could have been about a new boss or an old girlfriend. It could have, but it wasn't. Adams' room was on the 4th floor, and when I reached there in the elevator, Hellman almost ran over me trying to get in the cage. He was a nice salmon pink and panting like a bloodhound on a deer trail. He had a gun in one fat hand, a mouthful of verbs and adjectives.
Every time I turn a corner...
Who are you expecting, Princess Elizabeth?
Where did he go?
You better shift to the overdrive. You're racing your motor.
Where's Adams, Novak?
Don't start testing your muscles on me, Hellman. You must think I'm your wife.
This ain't playland, Novak. Adams just left his room. Where is he?
I'm not in the mood for company, Hellman.
You're going to talk. You're going to talk plenty.
What's all the pushing around about?
Don't pretend you're the country boy. You don't know what's going on.
Back up a bit and fill me in.
Adams told me he hired you to knock me off.
Yeah, and you believed it,
I know you don't work that way. But I wouldn't put it beyond you to pretend to go along with the proposition as long as you could milk a few dollars out of Adams.
Well, with your head, it's a wonder you don't believe it that I did it.
With my head, I remember that you were waiting in a darkened apartment with a gun when I came in. That you ran out on me, and that you show up now just when Joe Adams is escaping.
You put 2 and 2 together and get 22.
You're just a sort of a lousy conniving...
What about Adams? Is he the turkey that knocked off Van Dyke?
He got away when I started to dial the phone to call the wagon to... I thought I told you to forget the Van Dyke murder.
You're full of tell, Hellman. Is Adams the one?
Pin this into your hat, Novak. I'm closing in on the one who did it, and I don't need you to help with the net.
Like you closed in on Adams?
Just let me stumble over you once more before I close this up, and I'll bet my badge I'll put you where you'll stand still.
And it could be Adams.
You hear what I said?
Yeah. I heard prices are going down, too, but I haven't noticed it much.
I can fix that. You're going to a place where the feed is on the house.
Don't give me any more of that jail talk, Hellman, until you're ready to come in with some papers.
All I need to put you in a cage is a key. Let's go. I'll get him. You stay where you are, Novak.
He must think I'm a Boy Scout. That was screwy. That was twice Hellman had tried to jail me, and twice someone had fixed a breakaway. Any way you looked at that, it still meant somebody wanted me in circulation for some reason. Unless you believed in good fairies, the reason wouldn't be nice. If I guessed hard, I could make it relate somehow to the Van Dyke killing. But all I had for a trail on that was 3 people being nervous in a hard-to-get mystery book. From the way Adams saved me from Hellman, he looked like a good man to know more about, and fast. I knew that after the gun work in the hotel, I'd have to find him somewhere else. The only other lead I had on him was through Dodo. I headed back to her place on Vallejo Street. When she opened the door, she looked like something to fit in a fireplace ad. She was wearing a negligee thin enough to roll up and stuff in a pipe.
You bounced back fast.
You grow on me.
What do you want?
Van Dyke's murderer.
Who's Van Dyke?
You're a stranger in town. You never heard of him.
Come on in. I'm having coffee. Think you can risk drinking some with arsenic and all?
I got a strong stomach.
Oh, nice-looking guy. You seem healthy. Why do you want to change?
Your boy Adams likes to play tricks. If I didn't try to pay him off for the hot foot he gave me, he might feel neglected.
Adams is just a flock of nerves looking for some place to break down. Forget him.
He tried to put me on a spot where I'd end up killing a cop. The gag laid an egg. Nobody's laughing.
Cream in your coffee?
Yeah. I'm still guessing why he did it unless he killed Van Dyke.
Sugar?
Look, he didn't just pick this house out of the phone book. That puts you in line to do some explaining.
I wouldn't explain how to turn over in bed until I've had a cup of coffee.
You aren't shaken where it shows.
Are you telling me how to live?
I'd have to start with the way you say goodbye on stairways. You didn't learn that trick in a finishing school.
It didn't finish you, but that's just because you're durable.
So's my longing for Adams. Where can I find him?
I told you Adams don't mean anything. He just acts busy. He's like a fly, batting his wings off and ending up in the same place.
What place? Do I twist it out of you?
That book, Death in Herald Square. Did you find another copy?
That's for tomorrow. Tonight it's Adams.
You're wasting your time chasing Adams. Concentrate on the book.
I'm spreading my fire. How do I know that book isn't just a come-on to get me off the trail?
In the book, there was a millionaire businessman just like Van Dyke. He had connections in the rackets, just like Van Dyke. He had a partner, just like Van Dyke.
When do I start panting?
If you do, it'll be from running from the cops. That's all I'm giving you about the book.
I'll get the rest when I pick one up tomorrow.
You'll have a tough time doing that, Novak. The bookstores are all out of copies.
You collected them all?
Wasn't hard. A car, a telephone, a little bustling about.
You're real sharp, Crowley, till you start looking at a map.
I have friends across the bay. You might try Sacramento or Los Angeles, but that would take some time, wouldn't it?
I guess time don't count after tomorrow.
Not with what you know, sonny boy. Am I being confusing?
You make a good try.
Well, this won't confuse you. I thought I told you I didn't like Dodo to be bothered.
She needs protection like J. Edgar Hoover.
And didn't I warn you off this caper?
Leave him alone, Crowley. He's harmless. Are you all done in the other room?
Yeah.
Come on, Novak. I want to make you a little present. There are the books you've been looking for, with only a few pages missing.
Yeah, Novak, you can have them. All 50 of them.
They're a little scarred, baby, but they'd still make a nice gift. Send them to your friends for Christmas.
If any of them can read.
You sound like you're ringing down a curtain.
That's right. After tonight, you just keep right on guessing.
About who killed Van Dyke?
No, baby. About how you're going to prove anything.
Mind if we sort of run along now? As soon as the lady gets dressed?
After they'd gone, I went through the books. Page 187 was torn out of each one of them. I felt like a man in an earthquake. Something told me to run, but I didn't know where to go. Trying to make sense out of what I knew was like trying to put together a drop cake. I wandered around the place till I found a drink. I was just lifting the glass when the telephone rang. Yeah?
Who's ahead, you or the moral squad?
Everybody's out in front of me, including Dodo and Crowley. Adams is out of sight.
You aren't alone.
Dodo and Crowley just went out the door. I said goodbye to them and $10,000.
Was Crowley that big, or was it the girl?
Crowley isn't worried, neither is Dodo.
That leaves Adams. Oh, I ran down that book of yours.
Crowley said he bought every copy in town.
Every copy in the bookstores. My friend remembered where he'd sold one. My friend with the still. We borrowed it. Oh, by the way, Van Dyke wrote the book.
Yeah? What's on page 187?
Let's see now. Yes, a description of Van Dyke's double life. On page 187 is a description of the front man, the gangster. Bad writing job. No wonder it didn't sell.
Who does it fit?
It doesn't fit anyone, Patsy. He only said that the person had a star tattooed on his chest.
It's a horse.
Now all you've got to do is to get them in a game of strip poker.
Get them. They're all gone.
It's still a good idea, especially if Dodo sat in. So long, lover.
Give me Hellman.
Inspector Hellman speaking.
I got your killer for you.
What's that? Who's this? Novak?
Yeah. And don't start bubbling about my nose in your business.
Business is picking up.
You get Adams?
Adams? That's good. No, Novak. My stool pigeon got it. That fag I was telling you about.
That leaves you the only one knowing.
$10,000 worth. Don't think I'm coming after you, baby. You can stay there and rot.
So far, I feel healthy.
You think you can drag me off the trail after you by this phony phone call?
I know who did it.
Oh, no, you don't, Novak, but I do.
Yeah, fill it in.
I just got a phone tip where they're hanging out.
And so they're sending out invitations.
I'll even tell you where they are. It's at the beach near a shooting gallery. I've got a siren on my car. Let's see you beat me out there. It's the first gallery below the ballroom.
Look, Hellman, you're the only guy alive who knows the whole story. What if this is a gag?
Oh, no, Novak. I'm not biting on any of your phony tricks.
But listen.
Save your breath to sob with when you see me pick up that nice fat check.
a while, and suddenly the thing fell together like a winning poker hand. As soon as I saw it, I started running for my car. I don't know how it happened, but I beat them out there. I went along the bridge arterials. And they're widening fast. By stealing a flock of red lights and nicking the paint off a couple of fenders, I was out through the Presidio and over to Golden Gate Park in no time at all. When I hit the beach, it was foggy and empty. There was only one guy in the shooting gallery. When I got up near him, it turned out to be Crowley. He had a rifle in his hand. And he saw me first, down the barrel of the gun.
Don't back up, Novak. Come on in. You were looking for Adams, weren't you?
I was looking for a lot of things.
He's here behind the counter. Look, on the floor.
And did you kill him? Those bullet holes could be 22s.
Yeah, I killed him. Just as I'll kill you if you got any fancy ideas like trying to grab a gun.
What are you saving me for, Christmas?
Yeah, you dress up the joint. I want Hellman to walk into the trap just like you did. That's why I'm shooting at the targets. Like this. Bullseye. I'm good.
You'll have to be good to get away with killing a cop.
I hired Adams to do it. But he thought he'd get smart and frame you into the rap. That's why he hired you.
Did he expect me to kill Hellman that night?
Well, that's one of his bright ideas. He's full of bright ideas. Or he was. If he hadn't been so smart, he'd still be breathing. It's really very simple. Hellman got on the trail. And he was the only one in town who knew there was a trail, so he had to be killed.
He ain't dead yet. You're betting a 22 against a police special.
I'm live bait. You ought to see the gun Dodo has in the car.
You're gonna dry gulch him, huh?
He'll be watching me, and I'll be watching you. Let's see you beat that hand.
You're forgetting the books.
We're forgetting nothing. The books don't mean anything unless you put it together with what Hellman knows. Hellman and his stool pigeon. Stool's dead. And here comes Hellman. Adams thought of everything, including mirrors.
You thought of everything. Except a quarter.
What for?
To pay for the reload on that gun. Now, if these other guns are only loaded... Hi, you win a cigar, Hellman. You got her.
She'd have had me if you didn't spray the windshield. What was the deal?
While you were creeping up on Crowley, Dodo was going to pat you on the back.
Crowley? Where's Adams?
He quit the game. Crowley helped him.
Come on. Crowley's coming through.
Don't worry. He won't like these odds.
What odds?
38 to 22. It wasn't much of a trial. Crowley got the gas chamber. I got $10,000. The tax collector took half. Jocko got some, and there was even some left for me. Oh, yeah, Dodo was the one who killed Van Dyke. She and Crowley were sort of a team, but she was the contact and the real boss. Hellman never knew how I was so sure. I never told him I thought it was a man, too. Till Jocko told me about the killer being tattooed. After that, it was easy. That negligee of Dodo's only left one thing to wonder about. That was how she kept warm.
And now, an important announcement for your listening pleasure. Next week, Pat Novak for Hire and all your KGO programs will come to you by the new power of 50,000 watts. Here's what that means for this program, for instance. Pat Novak will reach 1 million new listeners all the way from the state of Washington to the Mexican border. The new power and the new transmitter, the finest science can build or money can buy, will make KGO the most powerful station on the West Coast. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. A woman posing as a housemaid has been stealing cash and other valuables from homes in your city. Your job? Stop her.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, October 11th. It was cloudy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Frank. We were on our way back from lunch, and it was 1:17 p.m. when we got to room 45. Burglary.
Hey, Smith.
Huh?
Your wife called while you're out. Wants you to call her back.
Oh, thanks. That's funny. Sounded like Faye to call in the middle of the day.
Well,
kids were all right when I left this morning. Wonder what she wants.
Why don't you call her and find out?
You're not married, Joe. You don't understand. Sometimes a guy wants a minute to think things over. Sort of prepare himself if he's done something he shouldn't.
Mm-hmm. Well, have you?
Well, what?
Done something you shouldn't?
Of course not.
Then be my guest.
Okay, thanks.
And I'll dial 9 for you, too.
That's mighty nice. Funny, I know the kids are all right.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, honey. Yeah, and I just told me. Well, we're out to lunch. Why? Something wrong? Oh. What happened? I see. Does she know who? She reported? Why not? Oh, yeah. Well, what'd you tell her? I guess we could. Yeah. Sure. This afternoon, I guess. Yeah, Joseph. It'll be about 7:30, I guess. All right, honey, thanks for telling me. If anything comes up, I'll call you. Yeah, bye. Nice old lady like that.
What's that?
I don't think you ever met her, Joe. Her name's Mrs. Vesper.
No, it doesn't sound familiar.
She used to live next door to us when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Known me since, ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
She's alone now. Faye calls her up every once in a while, see if she's all right.
Mm-hmm.
Called her this morning.
Yeah.
Mrs. Vesper says she had some money stolen, some jewelry. Happened yesterday.
Didn't she report it?
Faye doesn't seem to think so. Wants me to talk to her.
All right, let's go. Well?
Joe?
Yeah?
You got to promise me something. You got to give me your word right here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want you to kid me afterwards about the way she treats me.
Miss Vesper?
Yeah. I told you she's known me all my life.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes she acts like I'm still a little boy.
Mm.
You know how it is.
Sure.
So you won't rib me, huh?
No.
About anything at all?
Well, what are you getting at?
Well, she doesn't think I ought to be on the force, for one thing. I might as well tell you about it. If I don't, she will.
Yeah.
She always claims I should have taken up something else.
Like what?
Oh, you know the crazy ideas people get, especially about kids.
Mm.
Well, Miss Vesper thinks Well, see, when I was a lot younger, real young, 10 or 12, I used to sort of memorize things, little pieces and poems.
With what?
Memorize things, poems and little pieces, and I'd go next door and recite them for her.
Yeah. You say she's known you all her life?
Yeah, practically, I guess.
Well, it'll be true if we don't get out there.
Well, she got a real kick out of them poems, and I wasn't much good, but she was prejudiced because she liked me, you know.
Mm-hmm. Want to go?
Yeah, but I just want to explain this. That she thinks I should have kept at it. Made it my career.
Reciting poems?
No, not exactly reciting, Joe. I didn't just recite them.
You wrote them, too?
Yeah.
Frank and I left the office and drove out to the home of Mrs. Sarah Vesper. She lived in a small bungalow on Las Palmas Street in the Miracle Mile district. It was 2:07 p.m. when we got there.
Why, for goodness sake, Frank Smith, where on earth did you come from?
Afternoon, Miss Vesper.
Mrs. Vesper? What's gotten into you, Frank? You've never called me that before in your whole life.
Well, I meant Aunt Sarah.
Well, now that's more like it. Who's this you got here with you?
Aunt Sarah, this is my partner, Sergeant Friday.
Oh, pleased to meet you.
I do, ma'am.
You work for Frank, do you, young man?
Aunt Sarah, we work together.
Oh, you don't say. Well, I expect that keeps you from getting lonesome, don't it?
Yes, ma'am.
My goodness, now don't just stand there. Come on inside, both of you.
Thank you very much.
Well, sir, this isn't the darndest coincidence.
Ma'am?
You're coming to visit me today. Oh, sit right down. Sit right down.
After you, boss. Thanks.
Believe it or not, I was talking to your wife only this morning. Then the next thing I know, here you are.
Yes, ma'am. Faye told me.
Oh, my stars.
What's the matter, Aunt Sarah?
Oh, I just remembered. That's why you're here, ain't it? On account of what I said to Faye.
Yeah, sir.
I should never have mentioned it to her. I don't know what's the matter with me. I must be losing my mind or something. I just keep forgetting that you're a policeman.
Oh.
Well, you oughtn't to have been one in the first place. Now, if you'd just taken my advice.
Aunt Sarah.
Oh, now, don't misunderstand me, please. I'm not criticizing the police. Well, we certainly couldn't get along without them, and I'd be the first to say so, but some people have a talent for one thing, and some people are talented in a different direction. Isn't that right, Mr. Friday?
Yes, ma'am.
You take Frank here. He had a real talent for making up verses, even when he was just a little tyke. I bet you didn't know that, did you?
Well, I heard a little something about it.
A real talent, that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I remember some of his poems to my dying day. They rhymed and everything.
Is that right? Say, Aunt Sarah, would you tell us about...
That one about the rainbow. That was one of his very best. Did he ever do it for you, Mr. Friday?
No, I don't think he did.
Oh, it gave you such a beautiful picture. Just like an artist had painted it, only with words. You know what I mean?
Well, I'm not sure I do.
Go ahead, Frank. Say it for Mr. Friday.
Oh, please, Aunt Sarah.
Now I know he'd like to hear it, wouldn't you, Mr. Friday?
I sure would.
All right, Frank. The one about the rainbow.
I don't remember it, Aunt Sarah.
Oh, now you're just being modest.
Yes, you are, Frank. Joe. No, really, I don't, Aunt Sarah. I don't remember, not a word, honest.
Seems funny you'd forget a thing like that. I mean, when you made it up yourself.
Well, it's been a long time.
Hasn't been any longer for you than it has for me, and I can still remember it, just as clear as the first time I heard it.
What?
Rainbow, rainbow, up so high. That's how it begun, Mr. Friday.
Mm-hmm. Love to hear it, Frank.
Rainbow, rainbow, up so high, blue and red and yellow and brown, like an arch across the sky. Won't you ever tumble down? Where did it go from there, Frank? The next verse, what was it?
I'm sorry, Aunt Sarah, but we haven't got much time.
Oh, well, anyway, that gives you an idea of Frank's talent.
Yes, ma'am, it sure does. Oh, come on. Aunt Sarah, would you just tell us about the things that were stolen from you? Miss Vesper.
Well, I suppose I should have got in touch with the police.
Yes, ma'am, you should have.
Well, I didn't see where that would help matters none. Just like closing the barn door after the horse had been stolen, and besides, I didn't want to hurt Barbara's feelings.
Barbara?
My niece.
Oh, I see.
You remember Barbara, Frank?
Hmm?
Oh, sure. You played out in the backyard with her the whole summer she was visiting me. Kind of a scrawny girl.
Oh.
Of course, she's filled out now. You just wouldn't recognize her. Has 2 children of her own. Nice home out in Westwood.
Yes, ma'am. What's your niece got to do with all this, Miss Vesper?
Oh, she's the one who sent her.
Ma'am?
The cleaning woman.
Well, did you know your niece was sending this woman over?
No. I guess it was supposed to be kind of a surprise.
Oh?
Anyway, she just come up to the door yesterday morning, long about 9:30, announced that she was ready to go to work.
I see.
First, I didn't know what she was getting at. Then she explained about Barbara hiring her to give me a hand. Of course, I don't need nobody. Little place like this, no trouble at all.
Yes, ma'am.
But I didn't want to hurt Barbara's feelings, so I told her to come on in. Figured maybe she could help out some of the heavy work, turning the mattresses and moving furniture.
Sure. What was the woman's name, Aunt Sarah?
Margaret. That's what she told me, Margaret.
Do you know her last name?
No, don't think she even mentioned it.
All right, what happened next?
Well, we did the cleaning. Not that she was much of a housekeeper. Practically had to go over the whole place after she left.
About how long did she stay, you remember?
Half day. That's what she said Barbara had hired her for. Must have been about, 10 after 1 when she went. Didn't even give me a full 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Insisted on my fixing her some lunch, too. I tell you, that woman sure had her share of gall, eating my sandwiches at the same time she was robbing me. Wonder she didn't ask for car fare.
Mm-hmm. Well, just what was it she stole?
My cash money. Cleaned out every pocketbook in the dresser. Found the bills I had hid under the dresser scarf, too.
Yes, ma'am. How soon did you find out that these things were gone?
A little while after she left, when I went to straighten up the mess she'd made.
And you still haven't talked to your niece about all this?
Oh, I told you I didn't want to get her all upset.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose she will think it's funny I haven't called to thank her.
I wonder if you'd mind calling her now.
You mean right now?
Yes, ma'am.
And do I have to?
Well, we'd like to get this cleaning woman's name and address.
You don't have to say why you're calling, Aunt Sarah.
Oh, she's bound to know something's wrong. Barbara's no fool.
Well, if you won't talk to her, we will. We can find out where she lives.
Guess I was wrong about you, Frank Smith.
Ma'am?
Guess you're turning into a policeman after all. Like looking a gift horse in the teeth, that's what it is. Barbara's going to think I don't appreciate all she's done for me. You wait there. I'll be right back.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, go ahead and say it. Go on, get it over with. Ride me about the poem. I saw you smirking. I'd rather you did that than just sit there with that silly smirk on your face. I suppose you never made up any poems when you were a kid, huh?
Oh, I might have.
I'll bet.
Blue and red and brown, like an arch up in the sky. When will you tumble down? Is that it?
Oh, Joe.
Of course, I wasn't a real talented poet.
Yeah. What are you staring at, then?
Oh, nothing at all.
Well, then stop it, will you?
No, I was just noticing you need a haircut, don't you?
Well, I'm going to get one this week.
You're not letting it grow long, then?
Why would I let... Joe, so help me if we ever get out of here.
Just slipped out. I won't say another word, I promise.
Or look either, huh?
All right, I won't even look.
Good.
Well, that isn't the strangest thing.
Did you get hold of your niece, Miss Vesper?
Oh, yes. I talked to her, but I don't understand it. Simply don't understand it.
What's that?
That cleaning woman.
What about her?
Barbara didn't have anything to do with it.
Oh?
She's never even heard of her.
Frank and I continued to talk to the victim. Mrs. Vesper told us that the suspect was WFA, about 40 years old, 5'3" or 4", weighing approximately 140 pounds. Said she was wearing a house dress and a light gray coat. She also gave us a detailed description of the jewelry that had been stolen. Frank telephoned Mrs. Vesper's niece, and she said she was not acquainted with anyone who answered the suspect's description. 5:17 p.m. The crime lab reported they had found no physical evidence at the Vesper residence. 3 days later, October 14th, we received a theft report from a woman living near Wilshire and Western. The suspect had gained entrance by saying that a neighbor had sent her to clean. The description tallied with what we already had. During the next 2 weeks, 9 more thefts were reported. In each case, the suspect had used the same M.O., and the description indicated that the crimes had all been the work of the same woman. Each of the thefts took place within a few blocks of Wilshire Boulevard, in the area between Vermont and Fairfax. In one instance, the suspect had been seen departing on the Wilshire bus. Police officers staked out buses and bus stops. Lists of the stolen property were sent to all pawn shops in the city. 2 women were brought in for questioning, but the victims were unable to give positive identification. Employment agencies for domestic workers were contacted. Newspaper want ads were checked. No leads developed. Saturday, October 29th, 2:17 p.m. I get it. Burglary Friday. Who? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Corky. What's that? Yeah, thanks. If you can? Okay. Corky Levitt.
Yeah?
Woman's in his pawn shop trying to unload a diamond clip.
Oh?
Corky says it's on our list. We left the office and drove down to Corky Levitt's pawn shop on South Main. Over the phone, Corky had said he would stall the woman as long as he could. It was 2:28 p.m. when we got to his place. The woman was still there.
You make up your mind, Buster, give me some dough on the thing and hand it back. I'll take it someplace else.
Let's have a look at it, Corky.
Sure.
Hey, what is this?
Police officers.
Huh?
All right, let's go.
Take your hands off me or I'll
I
clap.
said let's go.
Thanks, Sparky.
Sure, you bet.
Yeah, thanks a lot. I suppose you let me in on it. What's the beef?
We'll talk it over at the office, huh?
About what?
This clip.
You mean it's hot? Is that what you're getting at?
Why don't you tell us?
Well, wouldn't you know it? Lucky Rita. Sure walked into it this time, didn't I?
Looks like it.
You clowns have got your minds all made up. You think I stole that pin, don't you?
Somebody did. 2:42 p.m. We contacted Control 1 and notified them we were bringing in a female suspect. They took down our mileage and location and made a note of the time. 8 minutes later, we pulled into the city hall and we again checked with Control 1. While the suspect was being searched by a policewoman, we talked to one of the victims. The victim positively identified the diamond clip as belonging to her. 3:41 p.m. We interrogated the suspect in the squad room.
All right, sit down over there.
You want a cigarette?
Yeah.
All right, now suppose you tell us about it. Come on, Rita, let's get it over with.
What's there to tell? You guys know all the answers.
We know some of them. Your name's Rita Baines. You've fallen 3 times, forgery, grand theft, burglary. You made 2 trips to Tehachapi and 1 to Corona.
So you looked up my record. Big deal.
Now, let's talk about this diamond clip, huh?
Okay. Pretty, ain't it?
Where'd you get it, Rita?
Didn't I steal it? Isn't that why you brought me up here? It's a difference. You wouldn't believe me no matter what I told you.
Why don't you try the truth?
Okay. It was a gift.
Yeah?
Yeah. Lady gave it to me.
Who was she?
I don't know. Never saw her before in my life.
Sure.
I was riding the bus yesterday afternoon. She was sitting next to me.
Mm-hmm.
Had that pin on. Asked me if I liked it.
You bet.
I said, sure. She took it off, said I could have it.
Just handed it right over, just like that.
Yeah.
What'd she look like, Rita?
I don't know. 40, maybe 45. A little on the hefty side.
And you never seen her before?
First time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I was a little girl, my folks always told me not to take things from strangers.
Sure they did.
Yeah. Guess they were right.
All right, Rita, what do you do for a living?
Wait table.
Where?
Bar over on Pico.
You work days or nights?
Nights mostly. Don't open till 4 o'clock.
Have your mornings free then, huh?
Law against it?
Ever do any housework?
Straighten up my room once in a while.
Ever do housework for somebody else?
What do you mean?
Like a cleaning woman.
I ain't that hard up for a job, even with a record.
All right, let's talk about this pin some more.
You didn't believe me, did you?
Pretty hard to swallow, isn't it?
Yeah.
The lady it belongs to says worth over $100.
Pawnbroker didn't think so.
People don't go around giving away $100 clips now, do they? Where'd you get it?
Dame on the bus asked me if I liked it. I said yes, she gave it to me.
Yeah.
You guys don't mind if I stick to that story, do you? Seeing as how it's the truth?
Which bus were you riding?
Wilshire.
Where'd your friend get off?
She wasn't my
Where'd
friend.
she get off?
I don't know. I got off first.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if it was somebody else telling you this, you might go along with it.
Yeah, sure we would.
But not me. Not Rita Baines. You cops give a gal a record, from then on she might as well be dead.
Sure.
Anytime there's trouble, pick her up. She probably did it. If she tells you different, she's probably lying.
You know, you got one thing wrong, Rita.
I ought to know. It's happened to me often enough. I'm the gal with the record.
Yeah, but we didn't give it to you. Frank and I continued to question the suspect, but she refused to change her story. 8:42 p.m. A special show-up was held for several of the burglary victims. None of them identified Rita Baines. 9:06 p.m. She was released from custody, and we went back to the office.
Well, if she didn't take that clip, she knows who did.
Maybe.
Yeah, stands to reason, Joe. Nobody's going to go to all the trouble of stealing this stuff and then give it away.
Burglary Friday. Yes, ma'am. What's that? I see. Mm-hmm. Yes, we would. What's your address? All right, thank you very much. Just a few minutes. Goodbye. Well, here we go again.
Another burglary?
Mm-mm. Another piece of free jewelry. Frank and I drove out to an address on South Risley Drive. 9:32 p.m. We talked to Mrs. Lucy Heflin. She showed us a pearl choker that had been given to her by a woman she met at a bus stop earlier in the evening.
I didn't want to take it. I told her so, but she wouldn't listen.
Yes, ma'am.
And then afterwards, when I got home and thought about it, well, I started wondering if maybe there was some reason why she was so anxious to get rid of those pearls, so I called you.
Just where was it you saw this woman, Miss Heflin?
Corner of Wilshire and Barstow. That's where I was waiting for my bus. I take the Wilshire Express home.
Uh-huh.
She was on a local.
I see.
And when it pulled up, she got out. I guess she must have turned her ankle or something. Anyway, she dropped her pocketbook.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I helped her pick up her things, and that's when she gave me this choker.
I see.
Said she didn't have any use for it herself and for me to keep it. Tried to give it back, but she wouldn't wait.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to follow her, but just then my bus came along, and I knew there wouldn't be another one for maybe an hour.
Yes, ma'am.
They don't run very regular after 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Anyway, I figured I could always return the choker if that seemed like the best thing.
How were you going to do that, Miss Heflin? Do you know the woman?
Oh, no, but I watched her from the bus. We had to wait for the light to change.
Yeah.
Saw her go into a building, apartment house.
Oh?
I suppose that's where she lives.
Miss Heflin told us that the woman had entered an apartment house on Barstow Street, 2 doors from the Wilshire corner. We asked her to describe the suspect, and her description tallied with what we already had. 10:15 p.m. We drove over to the Barstow Avenue address and talked to the manager of the apartment. He told us that a woman answering the suspect's description lived on the second floor, apartment 7. He said that her name was Edna Landy. Frank and I went upstairs to talk to her. Well, this must be it. Yeah. Somebody's coming. Yeah. Miss Landy?
Yes, sir.
Police officers.
Oh?
I'd like you to come downtown with us, Miss Landy.
All right, I'll get my coat.
Never mind, I'll get it for you.
It's in the closet over there.
Okay. I'll look around while I'm at it, Joe.
Yeah.
You won't find anything.
That's so?
I gave the last of it away just this evening.
Mm-hmm.
Lady I met at the bus stop. Gave the last piece to her.
I see.
She was very kind to me. Helped me when I dropped my purse. I'm glad I had something nice for her. Pearl choker, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Place is clean, Joe.
All right.
I said you wouldn't find anything.
Why'd you do it, Miss Landy? Why'd you steal those things?
Oh, I wasn't stealing.
Oh, you weren't, huh?
Of course not. I was just teaching them a lesson.
Yeah.
They needed it. Needed it bad. Never trust anybody. Always say you're stealing from them.
Well, who are you talking about, Miss Landy?
People that hired me to work for them. Do their cleaning.
These people didn't hire you.
Yeah, they're all the same. Folks out here, back east, all the same.
Where's back east?
Chicago, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter how much you do or how hard you try.
Ma'am?
Sooner or later, something's missing. They say you took it.
Mm-hmm.
Worked for them 10 years. Doesn't matter. Least little thing gets lost, they say you're a thief.
I see.
Made up my mind to show them. As long as they're going to blame me anyway, might as well do something to deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Good lesson. That's what they need.
All right, let's go.
I'm an honest woman. I've always been honest.
Sure.
I never took that money from Mrs. Dresser. She was wrong to say I did. Never took nothing that didn't belong to me.
Until you came out here.
That's different. Even then, I wasn't taking for myself. I gave all the jewelry away. It wasn't for me.
Well, it was more than jewelry, Miss Landy. A lot of money missing, too.
Well, I didn't keep it.
Oh?
I sent it off, every penny. Sent it to charity, different charities all over. I wouldn't keep something that wasn't mine.
I see.
Maybe next time they'll be a little more careful who they say is a thief.
Yes, ma'am.
It isn't right to accuse somebody when she hasn't done it just because you're the cleaning woman. That doesn't mean you're not honest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I showed them. Showed them if I really wanted to be a crook, how easy it was.
Mm-hmm.
You mustn't think I was doing anything wrong.
No.
Just trying to make them understand, that's all. Cleaning woman's like everybody else. She's got feelings, too, and pride like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe now they'll see where they made their mistake.
Yeah.
Well, they better. I won't stand for being called a liar and a thief, not anymore. Folks better treat me a whole lot different from here on in.
Well, that's right, Miss Landy.
What?
They will.
The story you've just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On December 14th, a hearing was held in Department 96, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that hearing. Edna Foster Landy was examined by 3 psychiatrists appointed by the court and was found to be mentally incompetent. She was committed to a state medical hospital for an indefinite period of treatment. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. You get a call from a citizen that a burglary is in progress. You know the exact location. Your job, stop it.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, June 14th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the night watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. We were on our way back from a show up, and it was 11:47 p.m. when we got to room 45, burglary squad room.
You want to get started on the report?
Yeah, all right.
Well, I should be glad to get home. I'm tired.
Here.
Thanks. You seen the new building yet?
What?
Seen the new building yet?
Yeah, part of it.
Yeah, sure is great. They thought of just about everything. That lab looks like something out of a movie. It's all steel, tile. Lee Jones is going to flip.
Well, it's going to feel to have all that room.
It's going to be great to have the lab in the same building anyway.
Burglary Friday. Yeah, that's right. What's that address? No, don't try to stop him. No, right. Goodbye. Get your coat.
Huh?
It's a burglary.
Yeah.
The guy's there now. Frank and I left the city hall, code 3. A few blocks from the place, we cut off the red light and siren. The address was a large drugstore located at the corner of Olive and Santee Streets. We parked the car in the middle of the block and walked the rest of the way. The store was dark when we arrived, but the front window had been smashed and the sidewalk was covered with broken glass.
Stay away from here. Don't go messing things up.
We're police officers.
Oh, I've been expecting you. I'm the one that telephoned you. I'm Arthur Muncie.
All right, sir. This is Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
Hello.
How you doing?
Hello. Took you long enough to get here. The thief's gone.
Where'd he go?
He just took off, that's all. Took off.
Which way?
Down there. There, right down the street.
You have a car?
I don't know. I didn't see one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if he did, he didn't drive it. He ran away down the street, you see? See? That way.
Now, how long ago did he leave?
Right after I called you. I come back here to keep an eye on him. He crashed through the window and took off. Running just as fast as he could down that way, the street.
What did he look like? Can you tell us?
Sure. I got a good look at him. Real good when he come out through the window. He kind of laid on the sidewalk for a minute, like it was hurt. Right after that, he ran off.
All right, sir. Now, if you give us a description.
Oh, you want it just the same as I give it to the other fellows?
Who's that?
The other cops. I give them a good one. I told them all about the thief.
Where are they now, do you know?
They took out after him. They got in the car and drove off looking for him.
How long ago was that?
Right away. They drove away right behind the man. It wouldn't surprise me a bit, but what they caught him, they was right behind him.
Mm-hmm.
Now then, you want to know what happened?
That's right.
I thought you would. Well, I was on the way home to the movie down the street. I go there every Tuesday night. They got dishes, you know.
What's that?
Giving away dishes. I've been going since they started. Tonight was Soup Bowl night. Already got 5 of them. Tonight fills out my staff.
Yes, sir. Now about the burglary.
The
burglary. Would you tell us about it?
Oh, yes. Well, because I get to talk and the back gets loose. Stay on the track.
Yes, sir.
Well, then. Now, where was I?
You were on the way home from the movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was just walking along. I got here by the drugstore and I heard this noise. First off, it kind of scared me. I didn't expect it, you know.
Yes, sir. What was it?
The noise?
That's right.
Glass. A whole lot of glass being broken. I turned around and right away I knew it come from the drugstore. So I went over to take a look.
Yeah.
What do you think I saw?
I wouldn't know, sir.
Would I take a guess?
Look, mister, why don't you just tell us?
This fella was laying right on the floor, right in the middle of the floor, the glass all over. I guess he fell on one of the showcases. He sure broke it all up. Just laying there, not moving at all. Then, all of a sudden, quick like, he jumped up, and that's when he saw me, standing there looking right at him. He saw me.
Yes, sir.
Right off. I knew he didn't have no right in the store. I knew it right away.
Mm-hmm.
You know how I knew?
Yes, sir, I have an idea.
You?
No, I don't have an idea.
Well, then, the light wasn't on. No, sir, there wasn't any light on. So I knew he was a thief. That's when I went to call you.
Mm-hmm.
Use the phone booth there, see? Right across the street. Able to keep my eye on the place all the time.
Yeah.
Come back here to make sure he didn't get out. And first, I thought the guy was gone. I couldn't see him at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then he came out from behind the counter back in the back of the place. And I could see he was hurt. Something was wrong with his arm. He held it kind of like this. See? Like there was something wrong?
Yes, sir.
He was trapped. No way to get out. With his arm hurt, he couldn't climb out. So what do you think he did?
Well, I wouldn't know.
Your turn.
Go ahead, will you, please?
Started running. Come right at the window. Running as fast as he could. Crash right through it. Broke clean through it. Landed here on the sidewalk. There, see? Right on the sidewalk. Glass all around him.
Mm-hmm.
Laid there for a minute, and then he got up and took off down the street. He was hurt, though, bad. I could see where he'd hit his head on the window, all cut up.
Would you know the man if you saw him?
Oh, you bet I would. I'd know him any place.
We'd like to have you come downtown, look at some pictures.
Sure. Anything I can do. You just name it.
All right.
I'd have scored a settle with that guy myself. I want to see you get it.
Yes, sir, we understand.
He'll be ashamed of himself. Whole thing's his fault. Never would have happened if it hadn't come crashing out that window.
What's that?
My personal reason for wanting to see you get him. He made me drop my soup bowl.
We got a complete description of the suspect, and a local broadcast on an APB were put out. Arrangements were made for the witness to be taken to the city hall to check through the mug books, and then Frank and I started to canvass the area. 12:20 a.m.
You think he made it?
I don't know. The way Arthur Muncie put it, he was hurt pretty bad. Couldn't get too far.
Yeah.
Want to pull up? Let's check that alley.
All right.
No, it doesn't go all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get out. I'll cover the far side. Go ahead. How about it? All right, come on up. Come on, we can see you.
All right. I give up. Don't shoot.
Just stand there. Stand there where we can see you.
I got my hands up. I'm not going to cause me trouble. I give up. Now, please don't.
All right,
shoot,
walk
please.
out here. Walk out here. Keep your hands where we can see him. I'll check him, Joe. All right, turn around. Turn around. Put your hands against the wall.
All right. I'm doing just what you say. Just like you tell me now.
All right, he's clean. All right, turn around. Come on. Put your hands back.
No, look, please don't put any handcuffs on me. Please don't. My wrist is going. I can't do it. I can't
All right.
stand.
Stand still. Put your hands behind your head and walk out toward the street.
All right. Get me a doctor, will you? I don't feel good. I think I hurt my head. No, I'm telling you the truth. You can see yourself. I think I hurt it.
Come on, keep walking.
No, I don't feel good. I got awful pain in my head.
Yeah, well, it's going to get worse. The suspect was taken to Georgia Street Emergency Hospital for treatment. We identified him as Leroy Ernest Finch, 27 years old. He had a record listing 2 convictions of burglary along with several misdemeanor arrests. His mugshot was shown to the witness, and we got a positive identification. After emergency treatment, Frank and I were able to talk to him. How about it, Finch? Make a statement?
About what?
A burglary.
You guys are forgetting something.
What's that?
I'm the one who's sick. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think about any burglary.
That's a nice try, Finch, but it's not going to work.
You better tell me what you're talking about.
We got a witness who saw you break into a drugstore tonight. He's willing to go to court with it.
Well, then you better get a new witness, because the one you got is all worn out.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's right.
How'd you get cut up?
A couple of guys tried to rob me. I didn't like the idea, and they put the screws to me.
You expect that story to stand up?
You got to prove it didn't happen.
We can.
Well, then be my guest.
Why don't you save us all a lot of time and cop out here?
Well, that'd make things real easy on you, wouldn't it?
That'd help.
Well, it's too bad I can't go along with you boys, but I'm not going to carry a beef I didn't build.
You want us to believe that, don't you?
I don't care what you believe. I'm telling you the truth. I was mugged tonight. A couple of guys took my wallet, beat me up, and that's the way it is. There's nothing you can do to change it.
Well, we'll see.
Now, if I knew about any burglaries, I'd tell you there's no reason not to.
I can think of a couple.
Spell them.
You've fallen twice before.
I thought we'd get around to that. Well, you guys better take another look. You can't bring up my record in court. You're going to have to make this on your own, and I'm giving you nothing.
It's a little late, isn't it?
Huh?
You already have.
That morning, the suspect was removed to the prison ward at General Hospital. He was reported in good condition and was expected to recover in time to stand trial. Frank and I worked with the district attorney's office in preparation of the case. A check at the drugstore by Harlan Stahl of latent print detail had turned a complete set of usable prints. Blood stains found on the floor of the place were of the same type as Finch's. Particles of cloth on the transom where entry had been made matched the suit the suspect was wearing. According to the district attorney's office, the case was complete and the conviction was assured. Thursday, June 16th, we attempted to re-question the suspect, but he was sullen and uncooperative. 6:47 p.m., Frank and I got back to the office.
How about something to eat?
All right, where do you want to go?
How about that taco place on Broadway?
Well, we were there yesterday.
Good food. Prices are in line.
I don't know. I think you could live on beans and tacos, couldn't you?
Sometime I'd like to try.
Yeah. I get it. Burgery Friday. How long ago? Right. Now we'll be right over. Your dinner's going to have to wait tonight.
Huh?
Leroy Finch.
Yeah?
He just broke jail. We left the office and drove over to General Hospital. An immediate warning had gone out to all officers in the city carrying Finch's description. As far as we knew, he was still wearing hospital clothes and wouldn't be too difficult to spot. We went up to the 13th floor and met with a guard who had been on duty.
I see you went out this way.
13 floors to the street.
Not easy to believe.
How do you make it?
Well, near as we can figure, he tore the bed sheets into strips, braided them together, worked at one of the bars until he could slip through. Must have looped the sheets around the other bars and lowered himself.
How far could he go that way?
2 stories. After that, he must have rested on the ledge while he pulled the sheets down after him. Kept going until he got to the street.
Anybody see him on the way down, do you know?
We're checking now. Not likely. If there had been anyone, they'd let us know.
Yeah.
Sure hate to see that guy on the loose. The way he talked, he's going to cause a lot of trouble.
Any chance he had help getting out?
No, he's the only one in the room. Didn't have any visitors. Door was locked.
You mention any friends in town? Anybody you might go to?
No, about the only thing he talked about was the beef against him. All the time saying that he was going to beat it. How he was going to blow your case sky high.
Yeah.
And he was sure of himself. Said you'd never get him into court. He didn't have a chance.
Yeah.
It looks like he might have been right.
It isn't going to change. He hasn't beat it.
Yeah?
He just postponed it. For the rest of the night, the area was subjected to an intense search. All people in the vicinity were questioned. Cars going into and out of the blockaded section were checked. At 7:30 the next morning, a search was called off. Apparently, Leroy Finch had made good his escape before the warning had been sounded. For the next 2 days, Frank and I checked everybody listed in his package. Friends and relatives were placed under surveillance. All known associates and places he was known to frequent were checked. Word went out to informants for possible leads. Every step was being taken to bring Leroy Finch back into custody. Sunday, June 19th, we got word that Finch had been seeing a woman just before his arrest. Her name didn't appear in any of the reports. Frank and I drove out to see her.
I guess this is it.
Well, what about the back?
Oh, this is the only entrance.
All right.
I'll get the door.
Okay.
I'll try it again.
Yeah? Who is it?
Like to see Miss Wall, please.
Who is it?
Like to talk to you. It's important.
All right. Come on.
You think he's here? I don't know. Better be ready for him.
Yeah.
Come on up. What do you want to see me about?
You alone here?
No. Why?
You mind if we check?
No. Go ahead. Come on in the living room. What you looking for?
We're police officers. You know a man named Leroy Finch?
Yeah.
Okay, Joe.
I could have told you that going in.
All right.
Sit down. I'll just have some coffee. Looking at the Sunday funny.
Yeah.
You got to excuse the way the place looks. I wasn't expecting company.
It's all right.
Want you a cup of coffee?
No, thanks.
How about you?
All right.
What do you want to know about Roy?
When'd you see him last?
Oh, let me think. It was a week, 10 days ago.
Not since, huh?
Uh-uh.
You heard from him at all?
No. What's this all about? What's Roy done?
It's all been in the papers.
Outside of the funnies, like it's been a blank. What's he done?
We want to talk to him.
Oh, like that, huh?
That's right.
What do you know about him?
Nice guy. Good spender. We've been out a couple of times. Dinner, dancing, nothing special.
Mm-hmm.
Dresses good. Looks nice. Wears too much padding in his coat. Outside of that, he looks like something in a magazine.
Yeah. Where'd you meet him?
Cafeteria downtown.
Mm-hmm.
I was in there eating one night. Place was pretty crowded. And He came over and asked if it'd be okay if he sat at my table. I told him, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Finished eating, and we went out and had a couple of drinks.
How long ago was that?
Oh, let me see. Just a couple of months.
You ever talk about any of his friends?
Hmm.
You know where he lived?
I don't think he had one place. Kept moving around. You know, one hotel this week, some other place, and that just kept moving.
Where was he staying the last time you saw him?
I don't know. Some place down on Pico, I think.
You can't give us an address, huh?
No.
All right, Miss Wool. We'll leave you one of our cards. We'd appreciate it if you could call us in the event Finch gets in touch with you.
Well, sure. I hear anything, I'll call you right away. Oh, excuse me a minute, huh?
Go ahead. We can find the door.
Thanks. Hello? Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, just a minute. Mr. Friday?
Yeah.
Your office. They want to talk to you.
Thank you. Friday. When? I'll be right over. Thank you very much, Miss Wool.
Don't mention it.
Let's go. Yeah. What do you got? They found Finch. Yeah? He's been hiding in a house in Highland Park. Is he there now? No, he left about an hour ago. Whose place belonged to? I don't know. If we want to talk to him, we better step on it. Yeah. He shot them both. Immediately for Georgia Street Receiving Hospital, where the latest victims had been taken. We talked to the doctor in attendance. He identified the couple as Mr. and Mrs. Fred Gilner. They went on to say that both of them had suffered serious gunshot wounds. Mrs. Gilner had been hit in the left shoulder and the neck, while her husband had been shot in the arm and chest. The man was on the operating table at the time, but the doctor said we could talk to the woman briefly. Frank and I went into the treatment room. Mrs. Gilner. Mrs. Gilner?
Yes,
We're police officers, ma'am. I'd like to talk to you if you feel up to it.
I guess so. I guess it's all right.
We'd like you to look at a picture and see if it's the man who shot you.
Where is it?
Right here. I'll hold it for you. This the man?
Hard to see it.
Do the best you can, please.
Yes. That's him. He's the one.
Can you tell us what happened?
How's Fred? Have you heard how my husband is?
We don't know yet, ma'am.
Shot Fred, too, you know. Shot us both.
Now, can you tell us what happened?
Came into the house last Thursday night. Came in.
Yes, ma'am.
Tried to rob us. Fred surprised him in the closet. Guess he was trying to steal some clothes.
It was Thursday?
Yes, night.
All right. You can go on, please.
Had Fred's gun. Must have found it in the bureau. Had it pointed right at us. Kept waving it around.
Yes, ma'am.
Made us stay in the house. 3 days. Kept us prisoner. 3 days with the gun.
Mm-hmm.
Then tonight, Fred tried to get the gun away from him. There was a fight. Terrible fight. Him and Fred. Fight.
Do you want to stop, Miss Gilner?
No, not much more. He shot Fred. Cold blood. Shot him. Then me. Kept us prisoner and then shot him. Awful thing. Shot.
All right, Miss Gilner. We'll do what we can.
Yeah. It's the best thing, rest. The best thing.
You want to check the doctor? Yeah. Excuse me?
Yes?
Where can we find Dr. Savin?
I think I saw him a couple of minutes ago. He went into treatment room number 3.
Sorry for going.
Yes, he's alone.
Thank you. Doc?
Oh, yeah, Joe. Frank, come on in.
Thank you. How'd it go?
Tough one. I think he's going to live.
That's good.
Hope he feels the same way.
What do you mean?
Bullet severed the spinal cord.
Oh.
He'll never walk again.
A check was made at the Gilner house, and their automobile was found to be missing. From papers in the house, we got a make and license number. A supplemental broadcast was gotten out carrying the information. The description of Leroy Finch was broadcast to all policemen in Southern California every 30 minutes. At the end of each transmission, the officers were warned that the suspect was armed and was to be considered extremely dangerous. Border stations were notified, and the checkpoints into Nevada were alerted. Bus and railroad stations were covered, and airline terminals were placed under surveillance. Roadblocks were set up on highways into and out of Los Angeles. If Leroy Finch was still in the city, every precaution was taken to prevent his escape. 36 hours went by without word. Tuesday, June 21st, Frank and I checked into the office.
I'll check the book.
So, Friday. Yeah.
I'm trying to reach you guys. Where you been?
We just got back from 77. What's the matter?
We better check with the skipper.
Huh?
That car Finch was driving?
Yeah.
They just found it.
The vehicle had been found by a motorcycle officer on a side street in the Hollywood area. As soon as he'd made sure of the identification, he'd notified Captain Bernard, and then he'd staked out on the car. 4 teams of officers had been dispatched to the scene, and a search of the area was started. Frank and I went down the hall to Chief Thad Brown's office, and we checked with Captain Bernard. He told us to leave for the scene immediately and take charge of the investigation. We went back to the squad room before leaving.
You want to sign us out?
Yeah. I got it. Burglary Friday. Oh, yeah. Speak up a little, can't hear you. What's that? No, I got it. All right, we'll be right there.
What do you got?
It was Hazel Wool.
Finch's girlfriend?
Yeah. He just walked in. We notified Captain Bernard what happened, and along with him and 2 teams of men from robbery detail, we left for the woman's address. The building was covered completely, and Frank and I went up to the front door.
Who is it?
It's Joe, honey.
Oh, Joe. What do you want?
Like to see you.
I'm kind of busy right now, Joe. Can you come back later?
Finch must be with her. Yeah. I'm leaving town. It won't take very long.
Just a minute.
Follow me up and take it easy. All right.
Hi, Joe. Didn't expect to see you.
Got a call from New York. Gotta get back there right away. Thought I'd come over and tell you. Sorry about that date for tomorrow night.
Oh, it's okay. I understand.
All alone, huh?
Yeah, but I was just getting ready to go out.
Anybody I know?
I don't think so. Friends out in the valley asked me over for dinner.
Well, I sure wish I could keep that date tomorrow.
So do I.
Hey, I wonder if I could have a drink of water.
Yeah. Guess so.
I'll get it.
Here, I'll come with you. Here's a glass.
Thanks. Where is he?
Regan.
You alone?
Yeah. He's got a gun.
All right, you stay here.
All right, be careful.
Thanks a lot. Well, I'll be running along.
Okay.
All right, Finch, we know you're in the bedroom. Throw that gun out and you follow it. Come on, Finch, throw out the gun.
You come and get me, cop.
We can wait a lot longer than you can, Finch.
Well, let's see.
We'll take the building apart if we have to.
Go ahead. I'm not going to walk out of here.
All right, you called it. Frank?
Yeah.
Get downstairs, ask him to bring up the gas equipment.
Okay. Watch your fight coming out.
All right, come on, Finch, get up.
Now, leave me alone, cop. Leave me alone.
Come on your feet.
I can't. I'm hurt. I can't get up.
You're not hurt that bad. It's just a shoulder wound.
I am too. You don't. I'm going to die. I know it.
Come on, Jack.
I'm going to die.
You're pretty sure of that, aren't you?
Yeah. I can feel it.
You got it wrong, Finch.
Huh?
It won't be that easy.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 4th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial. Leroy Ernest Finch was tried and convicted of burglary in the first degree, escape, a felony, assault with intent to commit murder, 2 counts, and grand theft auto, 1 count. In view of his past record, and because of the viciousness of his crimes, he was sentenced to life imprisonment in the state penitentiary without possibility of parole. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.